All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to We Grow Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock, 8:05 Central Time, as every Wednesday. We will be right back in about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Going to play a little intro. If you could help me out, hit that like button, share us out with your friends, and, maybe tag some new people up in here. What's up? Let's go.
The indoor farmer has a tale to tell. Under the glow of LED lights where his stories dwell. He's not just growing greens, he's sowing seeds of thought. In a studio with a microphone where wisdom's bought. We grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time. With Waylon, we'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time. We're living, we'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Join Waylon for our journey so fine. Learning, laughing, and sometimes sad, but always together from the good to the bad. He speaks of the benefits, the pros and the cons of the plant that has helped him feel less withdrawn. With guests from all walks, stories to share, Waylon makes sure that no one feels like they're there alone. So come every Wednesday, find your place in his light, where Waylon, the indoor farmer, invites you to grow not just plants, but your soul, your mind, in a world where together we're truly aligned. Tune in, grow with us, let's expand our view on We Grow Wednesday with Waylon. It's true.
Waylon, the indoor farmer, has a tale to tell. Under the glow of LED lights where his stories dwell. He's not just growing greens, he's sowing seeds of thought. In a studio with a microphone where wisdom's taught. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time with Waylon. We'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. On We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team. Growing together is the ultimate dream. We Grow Wednesday from 8 to 9. Tune in, folks, for a communal time with Waylon. We'll learn to grow in life, in love, and in what we sow. He's a man of the soil and a man of the word, a veteran with a vision, his voice undeterred. From cannabis tales to the latest farm tech, his shows where the nerds and the farmers intersect. He lights up the airwaves with truth and care, sharing joys, the highs, and yes, the wear and tear. We Grow Wednesday, we're all one big team.
Waylon, the indoor farmer.
All right. Hello, everybody. Again, we come back to the middle of the week, and it's Wednesday, and we got to make it through. So this week, we're going to have a little special guest for you. and it's going to be an exciting one. You guys want to sit back, relax, grab yourself something to drink, and tag some friends. Hit that like button. We Grow Wednesday. It's all about trying to find out what's growing on out there in the world. You know, a little bit of research, if you will, and sometimes we get some nice guests in here. So this night is no different. So let's see who tonight's guest is. Let's go. Uncle Rick's Genetics. What's up, man? You inspired me. I made something new today with a little bit of emotion intro like that. What's up? Hey, real quick before we let you say hello, it is 7:10, guys. Happy 7:10. I'm gonna do a little dab on some blueberry donuts. But we got Uncle Rick in the house. What's up, man? Are you actually an uncle? I'll have to ask him that here. We're trying to celebrate this 7:10. But that's
I am.
Maybe it's too TMI, but yeah.
I am an uncle. Recently. Yeah.
There you go. Now you can be legit.
Been a fraud until then.
Right. It's been a weight hanging over your shoulders. That's right. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming, man. I know it's a little bit later over there on the
some of these people
on the East Coast. Cheers, everybody. So what's up? If you want to, just kind of in your own words, and it's just imagine there's plenty of people out there that don't know who you are. Just kind of give us a who are you, what do you do kind of thing if you want, real quick. Cheers.
Sure. I see a lot of familiar names on there. What's going on, everybody? Much love. So my name is Rick. I'm from Uncle Rick's Genetics. If you follow the chaos, you know we do more than genetics. Way too much to unpack on what we do, but essentially we make it easy for a beginner to find the right equipment, seeds, nutrients, and not get misinformed on their journey through their first, full cycle of growing cannabis, because it's a whole thing, and a lot of what we deal with is people that we call it the Amazon frenzy. But they go on the Amazon frenzy and then they end up with stuff that might not be so good. And then all of a sudden they hate growing cannabis. And we're like, listen, you got a bad experience, let's try to just give you the right stuff. And a lot of the times it's the equipment, the genetics, the nutrients, the methods, way too many times. Yeah. Way too many times I've told people how to use the stuff they already have. And then they're good to go. They didn't even have to buy anything from us, and that's
right.
One big thing, that no other company or really anybody making any equipment or designing engineering lights, no one really gives a shit. I'll be honest with you. They just let you go. They're like, here, you bought the light. Cool. They don't care if you ever come back again. They actually care if you come back and buy another light. That's about it. But a lot of them, if it was a transaction person, as soon as you swiped your card, they slammed the door on you. You know what I mean? Essentially, you're out. So then, as far as warranty, customer service, things like that, let's not even go there. But that's kind of where we took a stand.
What's interesting about this? When I asked you to describe who you are and what you do, you went straight into the more, I guess, the more abstract way thing that you do. You didn't go straight into here's my website, here are the items I sell, and that's what I noticed about you right away too, because clearly you have a website, but you're not put, and maybe some to your detriment. I mean, it's remains to be seen, but if you don't seem to be as worried about promoting, hey, this is what I sell, right? And I like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you know what I'm saying. There's a give and take there. There's a double-edged sword. You have to promote some, but you also have to cultivate real relationships like you're doing. And so I thought that was interesting about that. Just your intro there tells a lot.
Well, if I could expand on that, sure. One thing that makes that a true statement, and I'm glad you noticed, I don't want to sound like an ass here, but I really don't come out here to make money off of this. Like I'm a contractor. I have other businesses. I do other work. You know, this is a passion project that turned into like, hey
Nice.
man,
Yeah.
you're
That answers other questions I had, but let's go.
you're beyond just like growing. You got to do something with this. So then, you know, like I started engineering lights and getting into strains, and you know, just kind of the snowball becomes an avalanche. And at the end of it, it really doesn't, you know, it really comes down to our mission. Like I said, you know, we feel everybody should have the equal right to fairly priced equipment, good genetics, and not be misinformed. And that's really the big thing there.
Chris has some good words for you there. Says puts up with people that have neurosis and answers questions, never complaining once. That's awesome.
Much love.
That's great because you're cultivating more than plants, more than a business. You're cultivating relationships, you know, and that's kind of the angle I take on a lot of the stuff I do, because I still think of it as sustainability. You know, just being able to sustain a circle of not friends necessarily, but of relationships, you know, in general.
We
And I
call
like
it the
that.
grow community.
Right. I hate to pigeonhole us all into, say, the canna community, right? I hate to call myself just a weed guy. I like to say I use it openly on screen with, you know, with the honesty of the ups and downs of it. But I don't want to be stuck in that space. At the same time, though, like I'm not an expert in anything, so that I can do that. But it sounds like you've been growing for a long time. So let's just get like a little bit of background, like how long you've been growing weed, you know, like what's the experience of Uncle Rick?
And you know, that's the question of the day.
He's like, last year I just came up. No,
Yeah, I was flipping burgers and they wouldn't let me use the drive-through. They said I didn't have the drive-through voice, so I just said,
Damn.
fuck it. Here I am, you know, a couple weeks
I'm
later.
like my own voice.
No, but you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say too many things, but
It's okay. Just give
let's
me a
say when I
general,
was
you know,
like 17 years old, me and my buddy were sitting there smoking a bowl, and there were a ton of seeds in the bag. And me and him just looked at each other at the same time, at the same thought, and didn't say anything. And I was like, all right, dude, I heard my uncle talking about you need to put between plates or some shit. I don't even remember who was talking about it. It was someone older. But you know, we put it in paper towels between plates in a cabinet and germinated them, and then fucking grew them out. And then once they were growing, you had to leave them because, like, I don't know, that's somehow something you have to do when you grow and you're a kid. You grow it, it's growing, you have to just leave or cut it down. I don't understand. There's so many people that like it's like a passage, you know what I mean? A rite of passage. So
I never thought of it. It never crossed my mind with all the seeds I had in bags. That's funny. Like it never once was like, oh yeah, I could do something with this. No.
Well, you know, it's crazy. I'll just tell you this, man. You kind of fall into things that you're kind of destined to. So my father died when I was 20. I never really got to know who my father was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, your dad is, but once you become a certain age, you start to know who your father is. And I never got to that. You know what I mean? He was gone before I was old enough for him to tell me fucked up stories and all this stupid shit. So I didn't know anything, but ends up, you know, well, he was a carpenter for 30 years. I'm in contracting, ironically, never wanted to be, but I am. And then I'm into all this stuff. And my uncle told me, he's like, you know, your father had a pot farm in the 80s. And I'm like,
oh snap.
He's like, yeah, he got caught with it too. And I'm like, what? And my dad go tell my mom. I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? You didn't tell me about this. And she's like, well, you know, it only influenced you. And then, you know, eventually here you'd be doing stupid shit. And I'm like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? Because like it didn't matter. I'm still here. You just like sheltered me from all the stuff I could have known.
Probably could have saved you time. Yeah. Saved you a lot of time, right?
I'm so like I missed out on a lot of stuff I could have known. But like, you know, doing for yourself goes far back in my family, and it's woven deeply into the fabric of who I am and everybody in my family is. Like, you know, we'll see how something's done and then we'll never pay for it again.
So you're not just cannabis guy either. Like you said, contracting and stuff. Like you
Yeah,
got
I
some
was a
other skills,
mechanic.
evidently. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I was a mechanic. I do like, whatever interests me, and I encourage everyone to do this. Teach yourself, learn how you learn. That's really key. Teach yourself how to do the stuff you want to do. It started when I was a kid. This guy was working on the boiler at my house. I was like 9 or 10. And my dad turns around. He's like, you know why I can't pay you to do this? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I was a kid, and he's like, because you don't know. He's the only difference between you and that guy is he knows what to do and you don't know what to do. And I was just like, huh. So like that like rang very, very loud for me. And I've heard that my whole life, and that's really the only difference between you and another person is in a field is knowledge, So
Sure.
I encourage everyone to teach yourself, learn how you learn, and educate yourself. And this is the same kind of thing. Like nobody gets to any status or any point of growing cannabis or racing cars or doing anything. It really doesn't matter unless you sink yourself into it. You find what you love, and you do it. It's that's why I encourage people not to waste money. It's an expensive hobby. It doesn't matter how you slice it. You might spend a little bit here and there, but at the end of it, you're going to be like, "Wow, I spent a lot." And it's just how it is. It's just a hobby like anything else. So,
Oh,
um,
that's a double-edged sword too, bro. Just not to interrupt, but like I have a bit of a I don't want to say hoarding problem, but like I like to keep materials, any kind of materials I think I can use in some way, and I'll just keep it and then or I'll try to rig things up with a bunch of used materials, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to know when to cut your losses, so to speak, and be like, all right, I'm just gonna actually spend the bucks. Yeah. And lately I've spent a little bit too much money lately, but I feel like I've gotten some, much needed things. It's one of those things, to your point, like I put it off so long and then I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna have to go ahead and put some money into it. Like I bought some
yeah,
new light replacements and stuff like that. And so
that
um,
right there, that's my Achilles heel, bro. I cannot handle hearing people have to replace stuff. We try to intervene before people buy stuff, just because like
right.
99% of everyone says they don't have the money for an expensive light, and then they go buy 5 cheap lights, and then they spend more than the expensive light, and then they struggle the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, just to specify with my case, this light was free. Shouts out to GrowFam, gave me this light, and
That's
I'm
awesome.
replacing the T5 bulbs with LED bulbs that go into the same slots, which is
Right.
that's so much nicer. Like
Right.
it's gonna save some time.
Of
But
course. I
I just
just
put it
like,
off. But you're right. Not to diminish what you said. I just want to be like, hey, wait,
yeah,
I'm
dude,
not trying to
I've
buy
given
cheap
away.
lights, but you're right, bro. I
I've
actually have
given
one
away
light
stuff.
that was not cheap, but it actually has a light in the middle that went out. The red spectrum's still going, but the full one of the bars, it's a Kind LED. Have you heard of
They
them?
don't do warranty on kind.
I haven't hit them up yet. I don't even know how long I've had it. Like it's been over a year. Like I mean,
Our lights have a 5-year warranty on them.
okay. Well, I
They
should
should
hit them
have
up.
something, you know what I mean?
I actually
Manufacturer
tried to
specs
become
usually
a.
got
Go ahead.
manufacturer specs usually got a year to 3 years, almost
Okay.
on
Yeah, I should
almost
check it out.
anything. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
they got a manufacturer date.
X750. Mm-hmm. I hit them up and was trying to be an affiliate, and they sent me to Lotus Nutrients, and I'm like, I don't really want to. I'm trying to go organic, and
Oh,
Lotus is not
okay.
organic.
Oh, it's not
And but so like
salt-based?
yeah, and they're like, well, they want me to start here at a product I'm not going to use in order to get to lights that I would have liked to rep.
I can
Um,
help you with that, like,
what's
easily.
up?
You wanna represent a light company,
Well, yeah, man. I'm not trying to bug. This was a while back. I was just like
I'm
trying to
still
shoot.
looking.
What I was doing was I was shooting my shot with companies of products I already owned that I didn't even really, I didn't if I didn't have a problem with it. Seems like a decent line. Okay, let me hit them up. But to your point, fuck yeah. I mean, let's we'll talk about it. We'll
Well,
talk about it offline.
I don't like to talk about other lighting companies unless they specifically go and make stupid claims openly. But you know, you get what you pay for isn't true anymore. I'll just say that not all grow lights are made equal.
Yeah. No,
They
I
really aren't.
totally get it. I spent a little bit of money on the next one I have, which I haven't taken out of the box yet. I'd have to go look at it to tell you what it is, but it's like a $1,200 light, so I bought it from a local shop, but I wish I would have had more connections and friends that own that. I didn't even know you sold lights, to be honest. I know
I
that
engineer
you get
lights.
lights from. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. We're actually one of the only companies that can say we engineer lights specifically for cannabis. You know, when you have a cannabis, um,
I'm Orochi.
you know,
Hello, what's up, Crystal?
you have a
Hey, guys.
cannabis purpose-built light, it's different. You know, this was
Kayla?
this was purpose-built for cannabis, not this grows cannabis. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's way different, especially in the sense when you see what efficiency does. We have a saying, spectrum over wattage, and we're actually currently shattering that right now with our Osiris grow light. That is a 45-watt single bar or a double bar or a triple bar. So it fits
Mm.
mostly every space but 2x2, 3x3. Next year we're coming out with the short one, the Osiris Mini, so we can cover all of them. But did you
I
notice that?
didn't, Chris. I'm looking.
Oh, I didn't have the comments open.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Been trying not to
Holy
interrupt the
crap,
conversation,
man.
but we've had a lot of comments for sure. I
Oh
appreciate you
man.
guys coming in. If you haven't hit the
Sorry
like
about
button,
that.
share us out. Thank you, if you would please.
My
We got,
bad. I didn't even see that.
we got about 40 people in the house. I don't know if there's anyone on Kick.
Well, much love, everybody. I'll try to look at the comments. I used to say if it's free, it's for me, not anymore. You know, that's actually kind of something I was going to say before. You know, you get a free light,
Right,
and
Josh. I get that.
and what if you struggle with it for a while and then, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like,
This is not a cannabis light, guys. The one I'm talking when I said free light, I know we're getting a little bit hung up on that. It's literally a T5 light I have over the top of my aquaponic system. And I
T5s
was
aren't
just
bad.
saying, I was just saying that it's nice that you can replace those regular T5 bulbs with an LED strip bulb,
For
which is really
sure.
cool for those lights. I mean, it's not going to be a cannabis light.
Well,
I
hold
could
on.
veg with it maybe, but I
There you
wouldn't.
go.
I wouldn't. I see. I knew that's where you're going. Like I could probably veg with it pretty easy, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do much more than that. Let's see
I
what
mean,
this looks
you'd
like.
be blown away about what those T5s can do when you have the right spectrum. You know, and certain spectrums do certain things. Like, you know, that's kind of key on as to why
What
our
I'm doing.
systems work so well. You know, you really have a different isolation for each point of the plant's life, and it will drastically change your growth periods. That goes for other plants too. You know, and T5s
Yeah.
actually flower plants very well too. If you know anybody going back that used to grow basically under tanning beds, those plants were beautiful, beautiful buds,
Is it just the
really
number
crazy
of
terps.
T5s? Maybe it's the
Well,
volume in that case.
you get into intensity issues. If you were going
Mhm.
to scrog something out like real wide and have just one layer of canopy, you can be fine. But you want any density of
There you go, Max.
any depth, you're in problems.
I'm not sure why I don't see it on the screen. Oh, there it is. Yeah, his website's right here, guys. UncleRicksGenetics.com. Hell, we could pull it up here and go check it out in a minute.
It's pretty basic. The bank really won't let me do anything fun on there. So we have growggd.com. That's our kind of our hub that we're going to be talking about cannabis. Um, it's under construction. We're still putting some paint on the walls, so you
Nice.
know, be mindful of things. But things are going to show up out of nowhere. There's going to be developments on it, tabs, pages, all sorts of stuff. Right now, we just finished the Osiris information page, so people could go and maybe check that out, understand a little bit more about what spectrum over wattage really means.
Yeah.
You know, we've changed people's perspective on growing. Like, you know, you can really have a massive difference with low wattage, low heat, the right spectrum, and small spaces, big spaces. You know, we're trying to solve multiple issues at one time.
All right.
Not
So
to
let's.
plug myself.
No,
You know,
that's
that's the
totally what
craziest
we're here
part.
to do. Yeah. Go ahead.
I hate talking about products because I feel like such a snake oil salesman on the side of
It
the
feels
fucking
weird, right?
circus
Promoting it.
tent, being like, "Yeah, this will solve all your problems. Check every single box on your little slip there,
Have you ever
pal."
worked in sales in like
I
at a
have.
company? Yeah, me too. And that felt terrible the whole time. Like they're telling you like how to lean people towards this and that. And it's like there's some people that are just good at that shit, like silver tongue people. I
It depends.
sell with honesty. Like, hey, I used to sell at an automotive shop, bro. Like nobody's going in there having a good day. No, nobody's except for that old man that's like, I want them Cooper tires. Like, okay, old man, we got you. Like,
Same
but
tires you've always gotten.
yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. I think you said you were a mechanic
I was a
too. I
mechanic.
didn't go that far into it. I was doing tires and batteries, oil changes.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
did a
nope,
lot.
I'm gonna go up to the sales floor. I'm getting out of this shit. Like this ain't for me. But I mean, I'm mechanically inclined. I just wasn't gonna go further into the knowledge of it. But yeah, I would like to know how to do my own brakes and shit. Let's be real. Let's step away from cannabis for a sec. I did have a couple of questions about cannabis. We're gonna first ask you like if you grow anything else. Are you like sort of an all-around grower? Do you have any house plants? That's a weird thing. I have one house plant now. It's a weird thing to me.
I don't have them because
Someone gave it to me. It's like, okay.
our dogs are like, my one dog will get like into anything, and he's just a dope. But my other dog, she's kind of allergic to everything. So, but I do grow other stuff. I have an indoor winter garden every year. I grow the whole garden out every summer.
Nice. So you're
Chris
growing a lot more than me. It's got those Osiris. I thought I like this dude, but he's crazier than I am. I didn't see how the 45-watt light could do everything he said. Oh, engineering.
I
Engineering.
know, dude. That's why I feel like snake oil salesman.
I know a tiny bit about electricity, and to me, I'm worried. Like I have all kinds of questions when you say you're getting more out of the lights. I'm thinking, does that mean it's going to last less time? Does that mean there's more risk of fires or whatever? Is there some sort of higher voltage happening? What's going on? Like we don't need to really get into it at all. I'm just saying that made me very curious. You know
I'm the
what I mean?
engineer of the lights, so this is like going to be real fast. They run 2 amps a bar, 45 watts. You could hook up to, I'd say like 8 of them up to a 20 amp circuit, which means like 8 per run. Which if you're doing a commercial setup, that's actually great because a lot of the times it's fucking like you got to hook up a ton of outlets everywhere for each one. And it runs all the way back. But
right,
I saw telling about the onion. Yeah, I grew an onion that was probably the size of a softball in an auto pot outside. That was like epic. I grew it inside in the wrong light cycle for a year. And I was like, wow, this thing fucking finish. And then I was like, oh, shit, it finishes in the summer. And I had it in like flower spectrum. I didn't read all the way about it. I was like, yeah, onion's cool. Put it in the dirt, grow an onion. But yeah, that was an epic thing. It's actually on my page.
What kind of onion?
Red onion.
I've been trying to grow green onions, and I wonder if I've been fucking that up. I got a grow table here with the what I take is I grab the store-bought onions. I could probably get some somewhere else, but I like those green shoots, man. You chop that shit up, you throw it into whatever, it's good. I like
spring. They need a spring solstice, like they need a flower cycle to veg. And then they grow onion bulbs and all that on the summertime.
I think they're in an 18.
It's right backwards. Now. Yeah, you have it. I think you have it backwards because they grow in the spring
too.
That was my problem. I did it all. I had like 8 months of veg, and then I put this thing outside in the winter months, and it started growing huge.
Well, this table has a bunch of different stuff on it. I don't know if you've seen it lately, but it's it's crazy. Like I got 100 things in there, but I'm wondering if I grew the onions like in a place where they were going to get more like shade, maybe that would do the trick. I don't know.
It's tough when you get into a bed like that. You're just going to have stuff flower at different times of the year. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I get to switch my light cycle. I'm going to get onions and garlic now. Where normally I'm just going to grow tomatoes.
I'm going to grow a bunch of freaks in there. It's going to be a bunch of freaks in there. I got some radishes that don't know what to do. They're growing like vines all over the place. It's insane. Anyway,
my girl have a new habit of cutting the bottoms of vegetables off and then rooting them in water in the windowsill. So we've got 4 celery plants, 4 carrots, and romaine lettuce just from buying vegetables And you take the carrot, you got to buy an organic one with the top on it still. You just cut the top off and set it in water. And then all of a sudden the green will start growing. You just plant it. Same thing with celery. Cut the bottom off, you put it in water, and all of a sudden the middle starts growing and you get celery again. You put it in dirt.
I tried that with pineapple. You ever tried
Pineapple's
that with
a different thing,
It's
though.
hard.
You got to make sure, for one, you got to make sure the pineapple is still good to be made into a plant. A lot of the times they're like on the way out, so having that be, a good candidate is hard. We got one to root once.
You got one too? Okay, I got one as
died.
well. Yeah. Oh, so it was rooting, but then it died? Rooted. Huh. Well, mine is growing, but I thought for sure it was going to be fine, but it's in the aquaponics system. It's growing
started rotting
in water. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was my
see
problem.
that happen.
It started rotting, and then the bad bacteria overtook everything, and it just killed everything.
Yeah, it's a constant battle trying to grow indoors. I totally want to grow outside as well, but I don't think I'll ever not have some kind of a greenhouse, some kind of a grow house, at least a place where you do a lot of the work. And, there's so much stuff you can do inside that people, don't think about. And that's why I try to be careful, though, because you can't just bring a lot of soil inside and like there's a lot of problems that can be.
Yeah, cocoa is great for that. Cocoa is great for that.
Cool.
And another thing, if you're trying to just grow some real quick veggies, for a number of things. Todd, what's going on? Swen, how you doing, brother? The dogs they cannot eat onions ever.
I want to do strawberries.
That's a big no for dogs. We make our own dog food, so that's a big no. Onions, grapes, garlic, big no-nos for dogs. But yeah, when you consider being inside and growing inside for consumption, one of the best things that you could grow is microgreens. They grow in like 7 to 12 days. You don't need any medium or nutrients for them, and you can do them under really, really low lighting. And they're actually, a lot of them taste just like like the broccoli microgreen tastes like broccoli. It doesn't taste.
They taste good, man. They all taste good. I like them. I haven't found a microgreen that I didn't like yet.
Right, but for like a 10-day turnaround, and you stagger that growth and planting them, you could really have like unlimited high nutrient food. Wow, pretty quick.
Joe, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm sorry. I am saying I have soil inside too. What I'm saying is, you shouldn't just go out there and tell other people to just bring dirt inside, because without knowing a couple things like what good bacteria, bad bacteria, like just a few things, like you can grow in a small pot, like cannabis. A lot of people will do 5-10 gallon pot, and that's sort of an introduction to soil. But then when you decide to have, like what Joe's saying, 340 gallons, or like a giant grow table or whatever, like that's inviting other pests and other problems. And so I use a little bit of sulfur powder, and I have I'm actually planning to get an army of praying mantis in here. I can't wait, man. It's going to be cool to be like they're walking through a jungle right here. I'm going to put up a camera and record them, like maybe, I just thought of this as we're talking. I can mark half of them like red and half of them blue, and then like set them out and set little cameras everywhere around the table, and just have like this wonderful little. Anyway, never mind.
That'd be pretty cool.
I could see it now.
That'd be cool if you could get real close-up shots.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna look up here. I don't want to keep pegging you with questions all day.
You're more than welcome to.
For sure. This is our first sort of it's first time on my show, and I was on the show with you guys. Would that be called what was the show that we were on? What was it called? The Basement Boys? What was it called?
No, you were on. Were you on our podcast?
I think I was on one time. Yeah, wasn't I?
Yeah,
did I dream that?
No. You're on. We'd been there. Yeah,
we've been there. Yes. Okay.
Yes, our podcast. That's for some reason not uploading. It just like stopped uploading at 15, and we're on like 25. So We're going to
Oh.
definitely put them. We're going to have to go manually load them, but it's going to be like a 10 or 12 episode bomb that just drops, and then it'll go back to weekly. I don't know why it stopped, but
I hate
we've had
that,
so
man.
much going
Uploading
on.
large videos is never like pleasant.
You got to
That's
upload
why
the video,
live.
then strip it, then download the audio, then upload the audio.
Hmm.
It's a
That's
nightmare.
messed up. That's a lot of work for that kind of stuff, you know. And let alone like I've been plagued lately thinking about how much more I could get out of the content I'm making by clipping it, and I just don't have it in me to do all that work after, like, with everything else I'm doing, like, to sit there for hours and like find the moments and like clip everything 10-minute like all that stuff that other podcasters do. Like that's what a podcaster does. I do podcasts, but a lot of my content has to do with me doing something else and away from computers. And
Yeah.
so that's a difference between that and say one of these guys that does like just cuts 20 videos a day about like other shit online. And but to that point, we actually do a little bit of this on Wednesdays, which is I share in my screen here. Here we'll do it this, and we look at a couple of stories out there, and we just kind of get audience take, and you'll be the first person to ever be a guest and do this segment. This is what I do usually when I don't get a guest on Wednesdays. And so what I do is I just kind of check a few things. We look at a few websites that I like. I like this website, foodandwine.com. They sometimes have some interesting things. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes very informative, you know. And so we kind of look through the headlines or whatever the most popular stories are. But yeah, it's like top stories, holiday cocktail. See, they're not going to have anything about cannabis on this. That's another thing I point out all the time. It's like, look, they're so sophisticated with their poison. You know, no offense, I drink once in a while, but it's like they're not going to show their cannabis on this sophisticated website. Don't hang your coat on the back of your chair. I do that. See, that's something I want to read about. That's what I want to find out. Okay, let's check it out. This was just this sort of example scroll, but let's find out real quick.
They're begging you.
There was another one about like
waiter.
your kitchen sponge, and we read about like how like your dishwashing sponges and how to keep them a little bit cleaner of the bacteria and different things. That we read that on this website. So I like checking it out, at least seeing what's up. Long time waiter, and I'm okay. He's a waiter, says he's not to do it at the restaurant, I guess. Okay. It's that time of year when so many of us layer up with clothing to keep the winter chill from encroaching. Oh, is that a rhyme? Sweaters, coats, gloves, scarves, hats, and partridge in a pear tree are all part of the season. When we step into a restaurant swaddled up in slabs of winter wear, the warm restaurant air envelops us like a woolen mitten, and we soon feel like we're in a sauna.
This guy needs to just write in general, like
just going. And in need of a stripping down of off come the winter accessories, just quickly followed by the decision of what to do with these items. Where do they go? Use the coat check. Oh, don't tell me they're going to say they need like a tip and for a tip.
Okay, so is this like
tip.
a fancy restaurant?
All right, we're done. We're done with this.
All right.
It's already going into like they want you to like make sure that the guy gets tipped or whatever. So I'll go into Marijuana Moment and check it out. There's a lot of times there's some good stuff here. Snoop Dogg launches online cannabis store selling hemp-derived THC. And that actually brings me to a couple of other questions I had for you. One of them is, what do you think about THCA and this whole thing? How, like, not just the actual substance, but how hilarious this is that whoever was writing the farm bill, somebody slipped that shit in, and now all of a sudden we have a THCA product or THC product that we can ship to almost all states. Like there's a couple states I think that are saying no, but isn't that crazy?
I mean, it isn't. I mean, this is the same thing that happened with seeds and clones. Some dumbass was like, you know what, man, if it's got less than 0.03 THC, you can't use it. How about that? And they were like, oh, okay, I guess we're screwed. And then as soon as they passed it, they were like, you guys are dumbasses. None of these seeds have THC in them. Now, the clones
That
have
isn't the
THC
worry
in
that
them.
they take it back. Don't you think we're talking about it enough? They're gonna know, like, oh snap, we
No.
better fix that, right?
Well, maybe on the THCA part, yeah, I would imagine, because that's a substance that somebody can concentrate and do shit with. But now, when you get onto the other aspect of what we were just talking about with seeds, do you know why they can't keep people from shipping seeds? 750 million tons a year is eaten by agricultural animals, like
Yeah.
livestock.
Yeah.
So that's under the farm bill. It's protected. So
Hmm.
that's why we have that loophole there. Now, someone missed it for sure. How much work and how much money does it take to undo that or close that loophole? And is it worth it? I don't really know. Secondarily to that, I feel like we're going for federal legalization anyway, in the short future.
True.
So
I'm
a lot
not
of
going
this
to
stuff's
disagree
going to
with
be
that. Sure.
a lot of this stuff's going to be like null soon. But like, there's also cannabinoid compounds that they're discovering, in correlation with terpenes and flavonoids, and then aside from that, people using their time to breed on the pivoting on terpenes and flavonoids and different cannabinoid compounds to then heighten them, and then they're going to bring them back into the industry and cross all these things again. So like, we're kind of at like the very tip of the iceberg still. Like, if you would imagine we just went below water and we're noticing how big this is, like nobody even knows what terpenes are in most of cannabis. You know what I mean? It's not something that's widely measured. It's not something that breeders breed by. Some do, but it's not something that they're doing in those senses. So I think THCA is like I said, I think they could close the door on it for sure. But
Yeah,
it's probably the tip of the iceberg, man. What about the THC? What is it? THCV or O? Or
right. The V would be nice.
what's
If they
the
can
one
mass
that's
produce
30
the V,
times?
could you imagine all of the weight loss companies like banding together to lobby against THCV whenever that happens, like in 20 years or whatever? Like
Yeah, I
that's
could
the
see.
skinny cannabinoid, like people would be taking that like crazy if they knew they could isolate and mass produce the cannabinoid that cuts your appetite.
Is it
Crazy.
THCO or P? There's one that they synthetically created by inducing chemical stresses to a plant in levels that would be toxic to anybody. But they did this to these plants, and they got these new compounds out of cannabis that were 30 times stronger than THC, and they had people smoking this bud that was like fucking making them, they couldn't even stand there and talk, and they were like long time lifelong smokers. I forget which one exactly it is, but that's something that if you know about plants, cannabinoids, and these are the tannins of the cannabis plant. So like it's going to keep releasing those the more we cultivate it, and it's going to keep going up and up and up and up, especially if we cross the ones that are highly riddled with these tannins that we love to smoke on. Eventually, you could imagine that these are going to grow wild, and you're going to be like, "Hey, Jimmy, get away from there!" You're going to tell your grandkids, "Oh, that's a Gorilla Glue number 4. You're going to be stoned and have hives. Get away from there. Go to the hospital." Just brushing up the good stuff. That's how a lot of these poisonous plants get to be that way. They were over cultivated or overeaten by animals.
I agree, and I was thinking about when you were talking about seeds being feed. There, you can make hemp microgreens, and they're pretty good, and they're actually a good like salad and like for salads and stuff. And some restaurants are doing that. But I was reading here, it says it's unclear if the person is the same Snoop Dogg disclosed paying upwards of I've heard this before, but upwards of $50,000 a year to roll blunts for him. and it says Snoop Dogg estimated in 2019 that he consumes 81 blunts per day.
Nice.
And just an
Oh, that's
interesting
not that
little
great.
side fact of Snoop Dogg today. I doubt
So let's do some quick math. What's that?
That was
81
5
a
years
day,
ago.
Right?
He's got to be getting older. I don't know if he's. I bet you it went down by now. It's probably more like.
Say he's up for 15 hours a day. That's 5 blunts an hour. 5 or 6 blunts an hour. That's not that bad. I guess it's. I guess we're all fucked up.
Well, what's
so-
the roach look like then? What? How big? You know, like where does he stop? You know what I mean? That's,
right?
3
How
hits.
big are the blunts?
yeah, that's
they
it.
cannons? But I heard about this guy getting paid 50 grand. I thought he got paid more than that to just roll blunts. But doesn't. There's another rapper that has somebody who pays just to roll blunts for him all day.
It says that earlier in October, meanwhile, the artist took a new role as a guest meteorologist on the Today Show, taking viewers through a personalized marijuana-themed weather map featuring cities from Weed, California, and California and Tokeland. I've never heard of those things. I've heard of California, Washington to High Point,
I've heard of
North Carolina, and like, have you? I mean, I've heard of Weed, but is that a place? And then Tokeland, like, where are these places at?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know,
I
dude.
don't even know if this is anything worth reading, but it's just some crazy.
they really put. He's a freaking guest meteorologist. With
Did anyone
weed
see this?
themed
Did you see this?
meteorology.
Anybody in the comments? Did you guys see this happen ever? A weed meteorologist, they call it.
A meteorologist,
I just came up with that.
Unbelievable.
That had to be the name of it.
right? He just smokes and he's like, "Yeah, there's a cloud rolling in, man. Oh, never mind. That's just the weed. Nope, it's clear skies."
He said. Chris says he couldn't hang with Willie. They had an interview
Really?
about it. Interesting. Willie smokes more. Interesting.
Who knows where Willie's been smoking?
This
from?
article is crazy. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be about the THCA business, but they're just going off in different directions here. Whoever wrote the article is high as shit.
He's
Yeah.
calling for a change on policy for the NBA so players can freely use cannabis off the court. I mean, that's pretty dope.
I've heard of that, and that's good. But actually, there is an argument for cannabis being a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah, so is Shilajit, which is just like a dandelion excretion.
Oh, what's that about? I've not heard about this.
You can't use it if you're doing, like
Let's
the
do a little
Olympics.
dab while we talk about it.
It's just like it's a black rubbery smelling, burnt rubber smelling substance. I think it's mostly humic and fulvic acid. And
Is it a stimulant? Is that why you say that?
no, you like the Olympics banned it from. You can't take that and be in the Olympics, but all it is like 90 of the 100 minerals you need to survive. They call it the killer of all weakness. It tastes like shit.
Oh, I got you, John.
Oakland. That's what I was gonna say, but I don't want to be like a total dope and be like, oh yeah, maybe we're talking about Oakland. So it's like I
I
live.
thought
in
it was
Oakland.
called Oaksterdam, but that was just an old term, I guess. I don't know.
I live in Tokeland, right next to Weed. All right, they're real places. That'd be
So-
really cool.
Yeah, I mean, weed must be maybe, I don't know. It boosts testosterone. Okay. Yeah, to anything that boosts testosterone, I guess, could be seen as performance enhancing for sure. Now,
Well,
weed
I
doesn't
mean-
necessarily boost testosterone, but I think it's a performance enhancer in some ways because of the numbing effect.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
you ever gone to the workout or gone to the gym after getting ripped?
there's
like,
gyms
push a little harder?
specifically derived to smoke and then work out and smoke while you're working out. But again, that has to do with the cannabinoid profile you have, and it's usually not super crazy THC, but more full spectrum. And you get different, you get different muscular effects, let's say, from terpenes, from flavonoids, with a combination of CBD, CBG, CBN, THC.
Bro.
So like, and it gets more synergistic the more that you add in.
We
So,
gotta
like-
synthesize this. We need to make the strong, the fucking mix it up and make the strong cannabinoid. And it'd be like this: you smoke, and then you get like twice the
Stuck.
strength.
You're stuck being a superhero. Yeah, dude. I mean, it along with that, I have like a kilo of it, but I have CBG isolate powder.
Yeah,
It's 97% pure. You could
Nice.
give it to someone with fibromyalgia, and they'll be like, I don't feel anything. Like they have to eat like a tablespoon or two raw, and give it like 20 minutes or so. I've taken that, and then an hour goes by or whatever. I was smoking the whole time, but after an hour goes by, you don't notice it as much with dabs. You lose a lot of terpenes with dabs. But when you smoke flower and you take an isolate like that, holy shit, does it like really kicks stuff up, because again, this is all about synergy. Like 1 + 1 = 2, but then CBD or THC plus the terpene, instead of it equaling 1 and 1 and 2, it'd be 1 + 1 = 7. So like these things multiply, they don't add together, they multiply off of each other. And higher concentrations of terpenes, lower concentrations of THC, to get it more balanced, will actually have more of an effect on you than out of balancing them. And this is why a lot of people don't like high THC dispensary buds. You're smoking something that's 25% THC, 1% terps. One. You know what I mean? It's
I agree.
way out of whack.
I know dabs are definitely less. I do a little bit of both just for that reason. I smoke a little flower just for the CBD. I try to get dabs with a little bit of CBD if I can choose that. But
Right.
that's again, that's not something that is always going to be on the table. But I did start making my own bubble hash. I got what's left of it here, plus I got another run I can do. I got my own little like wash machine thing, one of those plastic wash machines, and I'm gonna start trying to press that into some rosin. Would you think that's gonna have a more full profile as a bubble hash to rosin versus like these stripped down, solvents they're using?
Well, it's not even the solvents. Realistically, when you get it with the rosins, they're made with heat, right? So you have these heat pressed. Essentially, what you have now, right? Just a straight bubble hash. If you wanted to make that into bubble hash rosin, you would just go and press it through like a 20 micron screen. Now, the temperature that you start to press it at is your marker for taste. How would you take that? I have a load of problems.
Must be talking about what you had said.
Would I have to boof it? Not even kidding.
Maybe roofing it. It's a real thing.
I mean, you get it in you, bud.
Get back to us on that, Chris.
I'll send you 2 tablespoons. You'll let me know how it does.
Maybe put it under your tongue and you just walk around like that for a while.
Let it absorb. Yeah, but when you get into like temperatures, that's when you start losing terps. And you could go and look up different terps and their vaporization levels, the temperatures, and basically their boiling points. And these things all change at different temps. Some of the more common terpenes that are in everything are, going to last, like the myrcene. That's more of a higher temperature.
I love
It
that one.
goes
It reminds me
away.
of Jesse Katsopoulos every time. Myrcene.
But when you go to like stuff like eucalyptol, where you get a minty flavor off of it, as soon as you get that hot or leave it in a car or something where it can expose the terpenes and the trichomes to an environment that's not forgiving, you lose that oily wetness. That oil isn't viscous anymore, so you lose all the properties with it as well. So it's really important that if you're trying to highlight terpenes, you go more for flower. And the other part of that is a lot of these dabs you get, they add terp sauce back into it. So
Yeah,
they're not
I hate
now.
that.
Well, it's not a bad thing as long as they are cannabis terpenes. So, like, if they come from a cannabis plant, that's one thing. If they're
Right.
taking myrcene from some other plant body and sticking it in there, you don't even know the quality level of that, let alone if that's something you can smoke from that plant compound. And if there's other compounds in it, there are tons of essential oils that you obviously can't smoke, but they're the same terpene as what you do smoke, and that's because they're chemically made, you know. So
I've
they're
been getting more
synthetically
into
made.
that.
Yeah, terps are a big thing to get into, but like once you start understanding what your body likes for terps, your smoking experience is totally different. Like a lot of people are allergic to pinene, like 50% of people are allergic to pinene. And it's a pretty heavy terpene, and it doesn't vaporize at a low temperature, so you know, terpenes are the pinene terpene strong. It's pretty prominent.
Chris says edibles don't affect him. I say the same thing, but honestly, I know they would affect me if I took enough. You know, I don't know what that enough is. Maybe it's 150. You know, um, higher, but people, I think, and let's see what your opinion is on this. I've heard this a lot where people say they don't affect me, but then you might jump up one day for shits and giggles and take 500 milligrams, and it is really hard for us to find what that level of edible is when, for instance, I could probably eat a whole box of cookies or whatever, and it's not going to do anything unless it's, you know.
Can I say that there's something there that's overlooked? Like if you're going to put something spiritually cleansing into your body that's going to affect you, you shouldn't be jamming it in there with Red 40 and tons
Sure.
of other crap, wheats and synthetic shit, you know, all that stuff. I think one of the best ways to test out edibles is honey. Honey's pure.
Nice.
It's highly metabolizable. Your body takes that in quick. It's a lot of times it's organic.
Cheers.
Cheers. Smoke them if you got them, as we say on my lives. But yeah, honey is a really good way. Another thing that you could do is try nano cannabis, where they take it and they bring it down to such a small micron that your body can uptake it quicker than normal. And then there's another way that it's not edibles and it's not smoking. It's called a transdermal patch.
Okay, I had a patch. I did a patch once. It was like
Right.
CBN, I think it was.
CBN. So that was more of like a nighty night patch.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. This is more like you could get like a 90-something% THC patch, slap it on your freaking neck, and be stoned because it just transdermally goes in, and the cannabis is engineered in a way that can break the blood-brain barrier. So that's the same thing with the nano cannabis. So you get really, really high off of that stuff.
Let me tell you.
scissor.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's strong. I got this scissor, and it's the guy said I was like 200 milligrams. He was like, yeah, and I was like, that seems really low. He's like, just try it. You put it in, and you put it in with Sprite. It was like a Jolly Rancher mixture, you know, like you pour it out. It's like syrup, but that shit gets you really high. I like that was, and I'm the type of person that I metabolize everything I eat. So I realized with taking edibles, I have to eat like 5-10 minutes before I take it, then eat it, and then my body burns through the food first, and then the edible actually has a chance to stay in there because almost all the serotonin in your body is in your gut. I don't know if anybody knows that, but
it's what you got quiet at the end. It's all serotonin is.
Almost all your body's serotonin is located in your gut.
Okay.
So this is why
I thought your brain released serotonin, or maybe your brain is the trigger that lets your gut, you know.
No, you got to You got to get that down in there. That's where you get the deep release of stuff when you eat.
Because let's say ecstasy, if somebody, you know, maybe I had a friend once that knew about some ecstasy.
And I wish you didn't say
know,
that, but yeah, if you were
release
to put it in a
serotonin.
time release capsule, you'd get way higher off of it because it's got to get deep into your gut. I don't want to know. I don't want people to know I have knowledge of that, but that's just
Well, let's not. Yeah. Well, let's
anything
just,
else.
let's
Like
just skip over
anything
it.
else, you know. This is why when you take medication, let's just put it this way. That's why when you take medication, they tell you to eat first.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Right.
they want to make sure that it gets into the deep part of your body where that absorbs things, right? The stomach breaks it down, and the gut,
Yeah.
the gut controls your serotonin levels. Yes. But
That's
that's where it's the highest. Like you can, let's say you were to take your example, Waylon, which I wish you didn't use this example, but let's say that you smoked it
We could-
instead of eating it. You would
cut
get a
that
way
part
different
out. I'm just kidding.
you get a way different high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think people aren't as knowledgeable when they're in the state of mind where they're just trying to get anything. Like I remember as a young man, I remember other kids in the teens that were just getting fucked up. They wanted to. I wasn't getting fucked up. I didn't get drunk or high or anything till I was 18, which is kind of late for a lot of people, right? But what I noticed was a lot of these kids they didn't care what they were taking. They were just like, what is it? Give me this, whatever that is. Let me drink this, that, whatever they could take to get fucked up, which was the goal. The goal was not to be come about it with a level head and research something, find out what the ups and downs of it, what would you do to sort of make it a good experience, whatever it is. As an experience in life versus let me just be fucked up and I don't know who I am anymore today.
Woof this down.
You know, yeah, and that's a sad story because you listen to people like Joe Rogan and who else out there that talk about having spiritual journeys, psychedelic trips, all these different things where it's an experience to have. It's not a hey, let me get fucked up kind of a thing. That's alcohol for the most part. Like no one's having a spiritual journey on alcohol, but I don't know. Maybe I should just table that one. I just want to say what the deal is.
No one's
here.
having a spiritual journey on alcohol. I don't think you should table that. I think that should be a T-shirt, bro.
Well, I think I'm wrong
shit
though. I think I'm wrong. Immediately, I thought of Jackie Chan and like the drunken fist technique of China. They're pretty spiritual. Those monks,
Listen, bro.
the drunken monks or whatever, man. And like think about alcohol with different religious rituals.
If I could compare
I'm probably wrong about it.
all the people with melted brains that took straight acid that I've known forever, that literally have built wigwams in their front yard until their mom was screaming at them at 19 years old. Like people like that.
Yeah.
If you compare them to the alcoholics I know, bro, I can tell you full out they didn't have the same experience being addicted to not wanting to be part of their life. That's a totally different thing. If you're addicted to fucking acid versus being a drunk, like holy shit, man, you're gonna have a totally different aspect on life. Like,
well, and then when you combine things, man, people want to get drunk and then do something psychedelic. Like, no, just don't do that. In my opinion. Anyway, what the wheel is, I want to just spin this wheel real quick so we can get it out of our faces. This is my second spin for the week. Yeah, it is, Todd, and I bring that up all the time when I see big podcast hosts that talk down about cannabis when they'll just buy some expensive liquor and talk about it at some or have their cigars or whatever, And I'll just be honest, like more conservative talk show hosts that I watch, and then they'll trash talk. I'm just like, I wish I was there right now to point out your hypocrisy, and I'm sure they would have some something to say back. But the real truth is when it's something that you don't do or you're not into, for the most part, you only see the negative things about it. You're like, yeah. I wouldn't be a UFC fighter because look how fucked up those guys get, right? Or I wouldn't be a race car driver because, oh man, I might get in a wreck and this and that. But if you look in the statistics, maybe it's not nearly as much as we think, And my whole point is like, if it's not something you're into, you're going to look down on it like, oh, it's because part of you's a little bit not jealous, but insecure about not being able to do that thing, whatever it is. If I'm watching a pro sport or an athlete, I may not look at it like, oh, that's nothing, oh, I don't really like that sport or whatever, but without acknowledging all the shit it takes them to get to it. So look at people from the outside of cannabis looking in. I think some are a little jealous, like that they can't partake because now they're stuck on this like ideological high road where they like metaphorical high road where they can't come down now. They can't change their mind.
Whoops. Yeah, man. You pit yourself to one side so bad,
Yeah.
And a lot of potheads. I hate the term, but I love the term. Like I truly think that there's a difference between a pothead, a hippie, a cannabis connoisseur, someone that just smokes. And I think the pothead gets a terrible rap just because of the name and how it's been. But most of the potheads I know are open mind, good hardworking people. Most of them are the ones that build this country, keep it maintained. You know what I mean? I think it's a good time for a change, man.
I think the hiding of it was one of the only things that a lot of potheads were guilty of.
Right.
We're hiding the pot.
What's this wheel for, dude? What's the wheel for?
I kept trying to get to it. My bad. This is my second spin for the week for my subscribers. Wherever you're subscribed at, I make a post every week. Usually Sunday or Monday, make a post, and then on Tuesday show we give everybody numbers, and I check it again the next 2 days to see if anyone gets in there. But we didn't add any new numbers tonight, and wow, number one, holy cow! So wherever you're subscribed to me at, you preferably over on locals.com, but if you are subscribed on Facebook, you can get into this too. In which case, this is actually a Facebook winner. Let me find out real quick who that is. And I do one more spin tomorrow night on People in the Boxes. Yeah, you were asking me about People in the Boxes. Rick, the Thursday night's basically an open forum to anybody. If you ever have time, you don't have to be there the whole show. If it's like a quick in and out, hello, let me weigh in on the topic kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like we have a lot of different topics. Last week we talked about bubble gum and chewing gum for 2 hours, like the history of it. Like there are actually a couple of brands of really healthy, good for you types of gum out there nowadays that are not full of sugar and other stuff. There's actually some gum out there you can purchase from special companies that make it like mineralized, like it's like actually good for you. I forget the details of it off the top of my head. But let's see. Like, yeah, we learn a lot on Thursdays. We've talked politics, we've talked, ups and downs, we've talked camping, we've talked shoes, we've talked so many different topics, but we've sort of really unpacked that topic and usually try to make it something very common to everybody, as many people as we can. I mean, even the perspective of not having tried the thing. Like somebody said they'd never been camping on that episode. I was like, well, okay, that's a perspective to have. Like, what makes it about camping that makes you not want to try it? Like we kind of unpack that. So it's pretty cool. I like it. We get off topic here and there, but it's a good show. Hey, it looks like Sheena Reinhardt won the number wheel tonight, which means she gets a WTIF coupon. As a subscriber, that means she is allowed to pick from 3 different things. So far, we'll probably be adding more things. But right now, she gets to pick either a game night ticket or a extra ticket on the hat in the Indoor Farmer hat box wheel. We'll be spinning, which I keep forgetting about that. I gotta make that still. We can do 2 next month. It's not a big deal. It's a busy month. But anyway, anybody that wants to use those coupons to get on the wheel, they actually get more spots on it. So this is a wheel where I give away a hat, an Indoor Farmer hat with some swag in the box, and we make it you varying depending how many spots you're on the wheel, depending on how long you've been a subscriber and what level you're subscribed at. You get more spots. And this is actually a way to get even more spots by changing using this coupon. And the third thing is a swag pack. While I still have swag remaining, that is. I'm not sure if Sheena or Chuck are in the house right now, but I will let her know. And I usually have a running list for that, and we take care of it when we take care of it. But I make lots of lists now, man. I've been getting more organized. Let me tell you what, that's one of the hardest things for me. I'm not a dirty person. I don't have a lot of, clutter. I try to clean things up, but the organization part is the hard part for me. It's not hard, it's just I don't take the time. That's really what it is. When you especially I have anxiety and such, and that's not an excuse, but it does make me prioritize things differently than maybe I should. You know what I mean? And that's what's hard out here, like trying to do your own thing. And so for you to have a job and still be doing this on the side, like that's really hard, because I couldn't do what I'm doing now if I didn't finally, 10 years after the war, finally got this case, resolved. And now I am able to live here, and I could just do nothing. I could sit around and not do any of this, right? But I have time to sort of take my time with this and build an audience, build like a business on the side. You're doing it. You're doing both. You know what I mean? And so I commend you on that. And I think having that, the entrepreneurial spirit is really what it's all about. I equate sustainability with that same kind of spirit of an entrepreneur, whether you're selling grow things or not, but having a small business and trying to do it yourself, trying to build something. That to me is one of the main, driving spirits you have to be able to do that, something like a homestead or live on your, under your own power. And so I always try to highlight that. It happens to be that you do grow, and you grow cannabis, and good cannabis, they say. I'll have to, do a review for such a thing on a Tuesday review show. Hey, Sheena is in the house. Congrats, Sheena. Yeah, you can let me know what you want to use it for later, but remember what it's for. I keep saying what it's for. I have to repeat it a lot because several people have been like, well, "What's that?" I'm like, "Okay, well, I should make a post or something. I need to make a cooler name." Hey, but real quick, while everybody's here, check this out, man. Check this out. What did you think of this this cool sign, huh? I showed it to you right before. Like, I was literally, you saw me. I was scrambling to get this thing like set up before the show, and it's pretty cool,
Looks good.
Right?
Yeah, dude, I've been watching it the whole time.
It just kind of gets you. See, that's gonna cut off most of it. Okay, that's not gonna work. It's gonna have to be a scrolling because it's too big of a message. That's a cool one. I like this one too, but it's going to have to be a smaller message. Oh, look at that one.
Laser etched. It'd be really cool if it started moving.
That's going to make me have a seizure or something. Holy cow, I don't like that one. That's a solid or no? No, that's dumb.
All right, there we go.
All right.
So back to the OG.
Back to the normal. But all right, man. I don't want to hold you up for all night, but you're welcome to hang out. I think I actually do want to have a couple more dabs at least, but I'm going to also check out a couple more headlines, see if there's anything that stands out that's really worth reading about before I go. But you just let me know, because we'll definitely want to do that final promotional segment for you, whatever you want to shout out and such, if you're ready or whenever you need to go. But what are you smoking over there?
I'm good to go whenever you want, man. I didn't know how long you were.
I go for about 2 hours usually.
Right, I was prepared for that.
Cool.
So
I always want to give people the out.
Mm.
I like to do it live though, because people will even forget that. Like sometimes I've had people like, and I needed to go, but like they weren't thinking about saying
you get sucked in. Yeah, you get sucked in, man. No,
yeah,
I mean,
that's the other thing. Exactly, you get sucked in. Love it.
I'm here. We could source some Q&A if you want for people.
Yeah,
Questions.
Does anybody out there have any? I see a lot of people from your audience coming over. I appreciate that. And people
Yeah, much
coming in
love,
on your
everybody.
side as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you for the support.
We're live on Facebook in 2 different locations. We're live on 2 different YouTube channels, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Kick right now. So
Kicking
hopefully,
it out there.
yeah, we're out there. My Rumble audience has been getting pretty good, although there's only a couple people there right now. If my phone is right, I'm not sure if that's right. But it is what it is, man. The algorithms are weird. I kept thinking it was about cannabis, but maybe my stuff just needs to get a little bit. You know, I need a movie montage where I train up my game over here. But I was watching Kill Tony, man. I talked about it a couple times recently. Have you seen Kill Tony?
Yeah.
So like they're just passing the blunts around on stage, you know, and they're talking about like he promotes weed and stuff. Like, so it is mainstream, but I feel like there's a sort of a gatekeeping being done a little bit. Like, or maybe picking winners and losers, like cherry picking of the big companies. Like if or I've heard it described before, like once you have a big enough, not necessarily following, but once you're liked by the right people, meaning other people that are already up there, like say Joe Rogan, who's the top podcast, he's got all these friends that are comedians that are doing their things, and now Kill Tony's, you know, been going for a long time. These guys are kind of above the ceiling, so to speak, you know, and we'll see how it goes. I think to your point, as it gets legalized, I think they won't have anything. They won't have anything more to lean on. When I look at some of these sites that we're live on, they'll have things that are promoted on the front screen that are just like basically sex bait. You know, this chick with, you know, like damn near, you know, everything showing, and she's over there talking like, oh, we're just chatting or whatever. They'll promote that on the main screen, you know, like on Kick actually is what I saw today. And but like they won't put anything with cannabis on the main screen. So,
well, listen, I want to just say
it'll happen one day.
I want to say this. It's not an it's a kind of an algorithm thing, kind of not. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
what you're saying is, you know, at this point in reality, that is universal across every platform. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, you want to go be a freaking a guy that works at the docks on the cranes, and your dad didn't do that. Good luck. Good luck being able to get in. You know, everything is family stuff. You know what I mean? And it's kind of how these people do this stuff for their whole lives. You know, so I wouldn't expect it to be any other way. On the other hand, though, I think that there is, you know, like you have subscribers. You're not cannabis based primarily. You're, you know, mixed in some worlds of just indoor farming. You know, I'm 100% cannabis. There's no way around it. We don't really, we don't highlight anything else. Facebook has given me subscribers. They've, you know, monetized our page. So I do see people getting absolutely ransacked by Facebook. Yeah. You think that's an algorithm thing? Or do you think those people didn't keep as clean of a place? And then when Facebook comes to look around, they're like, holy shit, dude, this place is a mess. Like, let's multiply, let's scale this up. Now we have 100,000 people in here, and we have 80,000 problems.
You know what I think it is?
We've almost never had any group history status report problems or whatever they call those. I've only ever had an issue with posting my link and a picture of a bud with the seeds underneath it. Like, they said that I was selling weed. I get it. That's the algorithm shit. But when you talk about like being stifled, if you can really bring good content and grow a community, and I mean this in a real way, like nobody at the top just snapped their fingers and they're there.
For sure.
There was a lot of work that goes into that. Even if they were helped along the way, they, like you said, they foster relationships. If you can unilaterally figure out how to get your talented mind to take your information and put it out there for everybody to just sop up and instantly go from 0 to 100 with your stuff, and they want to be there and want to be your audience, you get pushed up there. You end up meeting those people you're talking about like right away. And the hardest part is keeping your integrity. You know what I mean? That's what I would imagine, because they're just going to try to throw a bunch of money at you to get you, which you're creating a place on your own. They're going to try to
Right.
get you on their team, and you're going to just put in all that work for them. And essentially, I kind of feel bad for these people.
Yeah, I have.
Only at the top, my man. Only
Yeah.
at the top.
Yeah. No, I
You know?
totally agree. And I think to your point, I have been doing what you're describing is like the other way to get out there, which is one person at a time, word of mouth, to going to these. I go to these, what they're called, spaces on X, which is a really good way to meet people because they they will let almost most of them will let almost anyone up to speak in. They sort of have a line of people that are requesting to speak, and so you get a little bit of time at least to develop develop an interest in you, like by putting out a little bit of what you do. Like sometimes some of these spaces are like, come up and tell us what you do, what you're about. Like some of these sort of like there's one I was in one today called the Collaboration Station, and so people will get up and just sort of like how whatever the conversation is, and just by doing that is how I grow over there on X, and that's been fun. But it's like it's grinding, it's grinding.
Yeah. I've done things kind of.
X is Chris, X is Twitter. X used to be Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like one person at a time is great. I'm like the analogy man. That's what everybody tells me. So for analogy for you, niche specific to construction, do you know what an old 2x4 looks like versus a new 2x4?
I don't know the answer you're looking for, but I know it depends on how it's been treated.
Well, I mean, all right. So an old 2x4 is true 2 inches wide, 4 inches wide, and a new one is an inch and 3/8 by 3 and 3,
Yeah.
3/8 or whatever, 3.5.
They keep getting smaller for some reason.
Right, they did it so the overall wall size is 4 inches. Whatever. Now, if you go and rip out a stud from a long time ago, right, and you cut it and you start counting the rings, right, you'll have like 50 rings on this stud. You go count rings on a new one, there's like 5. And the reason is that things grow better slowly over time. And they now engineer these trees to grow as fast as possible, right? And they get like no rings. They're very weak. They could be snapped in half by anything. You can't even break an old 2x4. But like I said, just for the analogy, things are stronger when they're built one step at a time. And I feel like, when you try to get too big too fast, you fall apart. And
yeah,
coming from construction before that, since I was 18, I've had businesses. I owned a computer store when I was 18. I was a mechanic. I did car audio stuff. I had a paintball store. Like, I've done everything, man. If I have an interest, I just dive right into it, and I take it as far as I feel like I want to. And I get knowledgeable in it and everything. It's like kind of my thing. I love doing. So like out of all of that, I've learned that it doesn't matter who you're reaching. It matters what you're doing when you have someone in front of you. And that speaks 10 times in volume. If somebody's like, hey man, I had the best experience over here, you need to go check it out. And they don't even have to say that. If you're friends with someone that like, hey man, I got the subscription. Like, oh, okay, whatever, man. I don't expect anything. And then you're like growing the bombest shit ever. They start to pay attention to that. They're like, holy shit, maybe I should check it out, And it's not like we have some crazy grow secrets or anything like that. I mean, kind of do with equipment. How you doing, Gabby? But like, there's more. There's a lot more to it. And that is why we're growing. I'm growing. I don't even go out. I don't have the time. That's where me and you separate. Yeah. I have the time to just like keep the framework together and do all the stuff. I don't have time to go outside of that, So you start to get people. You were saying in the beginning how videographers or podcasters or these guys do anything. They have videographers. They're like, hey man, I need you to shoot and edit and get all this shit together. And then they got someone to post it all. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you're a one-man band, wearing 80 hats is a pain in the ass. And I do that across 3 businesses. So I get exactly where you're at with what you're doing. And if I could go and do those things, I would be doing the same thing. You know, and I just recently made an account for us on Gracity, so I can go out there and, you know, just start putting input in. I'm probably not going to make any posts, maybe about lighting. I don't know. You tend to start talking about shit, people steal your stuff. So
I see that all the time, but you know what? A lot of times I put things out in the world that I want people to do more of, and it
Yeah.
really it is conflicting because it is not going to be a monetary gain, but it's something that I thought of while I was sort of, you know, birthing this idea, this calling that I've been given, and I thought about the sort of 2 things. One, the business side, like what I could build and actually help people with that, but also the other side of making this type of content more mainstream and more popular is a form of putting it out in the world, hoping that more people will do it and create. Maybe I won't be the next Jay Leno of sustainability or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't start the ripple to do that. And so I thought of that. That's something that needs to be done. Whether that's, you know, whether I thought maybe I can be the one, maybe I could be the Joe Rogan of sustainability one day and just all have nothing but people on all the time talking about whatever they're doing, hunting and, you know, beekeeping. I've talked to people like that already, and I've been doing it, but somebody will rise to that level that does this. And I don't know, I can't think of one person yet that's like, there's definitely people that are way, way bigger than me that are doing this, but not anybody that is to the comparison yet. Like if Snoop Dogg had a podcast, he wouldn't be talking about growing things. He'd be talking about smoking weed and how fun this and that, and it'd be awesome or whatever. But it wouldn't be like I don't know anybody that's in the cannabis world that has. I know Soil King has a podcast that's probably really big. I don't know who the next, like the biggest, you know, and I'm not trying to make it a popularity kind. I'm just saying like there will be that equivalent because we know that in other realms, like who's the biggest podcast, or not podcast, but like political podcast, who's the biggest, you know, the music podcast. I think Jake Paul does podcasting, didn't he? Is that where he came from? Didn't he come from like, I don't even know his background. You saw the video. Everybody saw the video of him dancing.
Please don't light that fire for me. I don't even want to hear about this fucking guy.
Okay. Well, I'm just like, that's an example of like, they know who the biggest. There's got to be a name out there. I don't watch it though. You think Snoop? No, he doesn't play. Like, or no, okay. And I'm not talking about cannabis specifically, but like, who's the biggest like gardening podcast? There really isn't one that's fun.
Jenny, what's her name? Jenny something. She's got the biggest cannabis podcast.
And that's a cannabis specific. Like, so.
Yeah, but like she's about cannabis business, law advocation. She does all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
She talks about women empowerment and cannabis.
Right.
Business.
Sure there's variation.
She gets pretty deep, but I'm pretty sure I saw last year she had like the #1 podcast like of anyone, and I was like, really? That's crazy. I actually had her on one of our episodes.
Nice.
We were trying to launch a female driven kind of like big sister program for women to be able to get into cannabis. And this was 2 years ago, so this was right when like women were kind of new to getting on Facebook and posting, because all these bros would come and bro them out and talk shit, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
So we tried to do this Project Venus project. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome, Jamie. But I tried to start this project called Project Venus, but it ended up falling apart. So we didn't launch it, but we had her on, and she does some pretty big stuff.
Hi, Rose.
Rose, how you doing?
Yeah, I don't think like maybe Martha Stewart. Like, I don't know. It's not entertaining enough, because I think about it, and it's like it's the one. I mean, there's probably a couple other things that we could point to that we have every person on the planet has in common. But like, we all got to eat. We all got to find like better nutrition, whatever that is, like nutrition and health, and all that is wrapped into sustainability, right? We need.
So you want to do the news, is what you're saying?
Huh?
This is so you want to do the news.
Well, that's what Wednesday is kind of a lot of times. That's why I pull up different articles. But Monday is when I show footage of what I'm growing, and or going to farmers or other friends that have like a grow or whatever, and I show off their footage, or some of the audience members will send in pictures and we'll show that up. Monday night's all about the literal growing and sustainability that way. But then Wednesday is more about let's expand our mind and grow in that way by looking at what's happening with our food. Let's look at that, whatever, this bill and that bill. Like, I'm not looking that closely at the bills. I can't read the 5,000 pages or whatever, but we are kind of skimming over a lot of news and articles that are being written about our food and our agriculture, and that, I mean, I think is important, because sometimes just having it in our, just being in the conversation a little bit, even if it's just in the background while we're having fun and smoking, and you know what I mean?
You know, I honestly, to speak on, and not even like bills that are being written for food, but just to speak on food, like you are what you eat. That saying isn't a thing for no reason. You know, it's the same thing with feeding plants, feeding your dogs, cats, birds, farm animals are the same. What you put in, you get out. So, you know, I really, really urge everybody. I know it's expensive. We spend like $300+ a week on 2 people to eat, but clean food and herbs, organics, it's important. You know, there was a time where they had to label if something was artificial. Now they label if it's got real milk with the cheese in it. Like, you know, cheese made with real milk.
Some of these labels are hilarious, bro, where they say,
what do they make it with?
Yeah, like what else is in there? Or like they say the dominant ingredient is this or whatever. Not dominant, there's maybe another word, but like the predominant ingredient is this, mostly this. What? Like what's the rest? And then it's just, ingredients are insane. I'm just
gotta watch out. They're changing look out for the food coloring. They're changing all the names of food coloring.
Look at this article here. Most fertilizer prices remain high. I brought this up recently because I'm doing aquaponics, and I think fish can be a way to make up the difference in fertilizer, because we're missing fertilizer from Russia. I think was one of the bigger exporters of fertilizer.
They cut like the global fertilizer budget like a year or two ago by like 20%, and it created more of an uprising with farmers in other places in the world. Once they started like, you know, doing tax imposing and stuff, and farmers went nuts kind of everywhere. But fertilizer is going to keep going up in price, and that's because they're going to continue to cut how much can be made. They're filing it under the agricultural carbon footprint binder, which they're also trying to say that organic farming is bad for the environment. So be ready to see that in the future of
I can believe it.
And the USDA is going to want you to register gardens over 10 by 10 square feet if it's organic, you know, because of a carbon footprint. You're emitting a lot of gases, which doesn't make sense if you know anything about plants.
Dollar deciding commodity price direction. Oh God, inflation expectations remain elevated as a reinforced factor for the dollar's current strength.
Do you follow crypto?
Yeah. Well, I definitely have said that recently. I don't want to give you financial advice, but I definitely think that a little bit of Bitcoin goes a long way if you can start to get some now.
I mean, aside from Bitcoin, the whole entire market is.
There's a lot of them. But
nuts.
Which ones do you follow? Like, there's a couple others that I would say are safe, but there's a lot of them out there. These shit coins and these meme coins.
Well, yeah, of course.
But there's what? Like Ethereum.
You gotta go by utility and what they do and why they're there. That's more important. And there's a lot, dude. Like, They're outside of financial investing, like XDC. XDC is going to work with XRP to do all these trades in Asia and South Korea and all these random places that are signing up for XDC. If you know anything about XRP, XRP is going to be a token that everybody.
I've heard
uses.
about it, but I don't know much about it. I just know a lot of people
Right.
are expecting it to boom any second.
Imagine this, right? Imagine you have gold and I have silver, and you want to pay me, but there's no way for us to actually divvy this up correctly. What you would do is you'd put your gold into XRP, and then they would give me XRP in exchange for my silver. Like, so the medium would be XRP that we trade into. That would be cross-border. So like you have the US and Europe, they have to exchange into XRP first, and then they can get their money. So this would be like kind of like the water between all the islands, right? And that's why XRP is such a crazy thought process to follow. What they do is because countries are going to go with digital currency eventually. And when they do, almost every country's already signed up with Ripple, including the United States, who's suing Ripple. They've already adopted their program for when they go digital. So like they're going to be huge. Aside from that, there's a lot of companies working underneath them that do processing and transactions for Ripple. Those companies are huge and they're booming because their main company they work for is booming. There's
Ripple?
another one. Yeah, Ripple. That's Ripple Labs. That's who XRP is from.
Gotcha.
And Ripple USD is supposed to launch today, actually, which is a USD stablecoin backed like Ripple coin. So it's supposed to be backed like on the US dollars rate. So like there's going to be big stuff with that. But there's things like Hedera. Hedera's got like they got this picture up with like 100 big companies that they're going to do processing for in the future.
You got any
Digital
Dogecoin?
Doge? No, I never got on the Doge. I just sold my Sheeb, and I kind of regret it. I was a week out, because it went up, and then I was like,
Yeah, I don't have any either.
But all across crypto, it's going crazy, and there's a lot of things that are making it go crazy. But as far as like the world changing, bro, and right now there's something called a Grow Coin. If you follow crypto and you don't know about this, go look up Grow Coin. Grow Coin is an agricultural coin. Now, I wanted to start a cryptocurrency, and I wanted to call it Grow Coin, ironically. But what I was going to do was I was going to have it as a way for people to buy things in the cannabis space. So now this Cannaverse, right, needs a financial backing. So you make a coin that everybody could trade into. Hey, I need this grow light. Cool, it's this many Canna coins. Like, you know what I mean? And you trade Canna coins. And that's exactly how XRP would work with all these countries. But you could do this and the people that buy into it would own it. So that's how crypto, really works on a sense of a utility and a worth, and then people using it for that utility. And it would sidestep all the major, processors and people that take all your money along the way. So this is why they really don't want crypto. It's, it's for the people, by the people, and it benefits the people.
How do I trade a gold bar to XRP?
You would have to trade it to a place that has XRP.
Right, because wouldn't that be how is that different than Bitcoin then?
It's not. You would set Bitcoin. They're not going to make any more of or burn any, so it's limited number. Forever.
Right. Okay.
Price
so the
goes
blockchain
up.
itself is different, right? But
that's their kind of difference. But when you get into this stuff, if you were to take gold and want to turn it into XRP, you just sell your gold for money and then just buy the XRP. It's like a stock, except that stock has a utility. Some of these utilities, I think it's Shiba and Shibarium, they have a whole network now. Shibarium network with Bone and Leash. You could buy real world stuff with that. You could buy some cars with Shiba. Imagine buying a car with crypto. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like this is where this stuff's eventually going.
Oh
So
yeah, there's some grocery stores that accept Bitcoin, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
dude, there are like this is the eventuality. Like you're gonna pay your light bill. Those guys are gonna have their own cryptocurrency that is the financial stock of their company.
Hmm.
It's just a way to integrate things differently. They can actually use the money
Makes sense.
that you are paying them and vice versa. So like it's just the way the world's gonna go eventually. But it's going crazy right now. Stuff's on like 400 or 500% increases. Not just like
Speaking of going
anything.
crazy, let's go crazy and let's play a little bit of music louder while I do another little dab here. We got about 20 minutes left of the show. I really appreciate Uncle Rick's Genetics coming on, and I hope everybody has went to follow him. And I will hope you guys will hit the like button if you haven't yet. And, share us out with some friends and come on back for game night where we have all the fun and do play the games and such. So let's play. I'm going to play a little Gangster Waylon while we do a little gangster dab here at the end of the night on We Grow Wednesday.
And I appreciate everybody in the live here. Thanks for coming out. And I don't have anything that I want anybody to go check out or new drops or anything like that. Just go get on growggd.com, make a profile, and nothing might happen for a little while, but come back and periodically check because that's going to be a whole place.
And I'm still open to work with you on that. I think we talked about it, and whatever way we can integrate.
A week or so, I'll be working on the page that I want to put you on. So,
cool.
That's important to me that we highlight and I want to work with the right people too. I really think that it's important that you have people that care about what they're doing.
I think every situation can be a win-win. I feel like there should never be a situation where there doesn't have to be a situation where you're just a taker. And some people just want to be takers, but there's got to be always a way to make it a win-win, if not more than that. But yeah, I'll cheers to that. Brother, cheers. Appreciate it.
That's really it. If we could add you to our Grow community and you can help to add something to it, or vice versa, that's what it's about, man. Essentially, we're all here because of you guys. That's the only reason I'm live right now with you. We could have had this conversation ourselves, but and I do this frequently with members. Contact me. We have an hour-long conversation. This is for the viewers, man.
You do the Terpy Tuesday. You do what other? Are there any other scheduled shows?
So I do Terpy and Tuesday, and then Saturday mornings are Make and Bake, 9:30 Eastern. Terpy Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern, and then 8 p.m. 8:30, 8 to 8:30 on Saturday evenings, depending on how shit's going for us. We go live for our podcast. I would really like to, and also now because we're doing this Grow Off, we're going to be live on Fridays doing our Showcase Grower of the Week and talking about our judging on the Grow Off. It's definitely too late for people to get in, but it's definitely something you should check out if you like watching people go from seed to harvest. It's actually a different type of Grow Off where we partnered up with Feed Me Genetics, and we're doing a community-based positive Grow Off, not a competition, but there's 3 tiers, 3 prizes, 12 strains. There's about 40 plus people in it. And Feed Me Genetics has the one post for them. I put the other one up on Fridays. But it's a really different Grow Off. And if you're a breeder out there watching this, we're actually looking to add somebody to this when we redo it again.
Nice.
So we can have a third person, and hopefully it gets to like 10 or 15 breeders, so that like we could get 200-300 people in grow offs. Like that's what we want to see. And the grow offs are based on how a grower does over the time. It's not just about the picture. It's not about the final. Mm-hmm. It's not about the weight. What if you had a really shit start and then pulled it out of your ass and had a beautiful finish? Like, you know what I mean? That's what we're going for. We really want people to challenge themselves.
I'm in something like that right now. That's awesome. A global thing. It's called it's called One World, One Plant.
That's cool.
and I was given some seeds that that ended up like 4 of them germinated, and I had mice a few weeks back, and they ate the just the little sprouts. They ate the microgreens as they popped up, and the other seeds didn't pop. But this thing is a sort of not grow off, but everybody growing the same plant across the world, and you do hashtag one plant one world one plant, or however way it is. Anyway, the reason I bring it up at all is because it's got like hundreds of thousands of I think reuses, not tweets, but like hashtags or whatever. It's a crazy hashtag that kind of can connect you, and it's actually a good thing to become part of it, because then like it just basically networks more people. It's pretty interesting. I haven't really talked to anyone in it, so per se I haven't really gone to that point, but it is interesting. I was brought into it by Twisted Cannabis. Shouts out to Twisted out there. Told me about it, but it's an interesting initiative.
Much love, Richard. Appreciate you, bro.
Richard says if you all are interested in an awesome veg light, look into Osiris Lights. Okay, hold on. I gotta do this right. If you're interested in an awesome veg light, look into the Osiris Light. It's spectrum or wattage 45 watt light that plants need. Best veg light I have owned. Owner of two 3-bar setup. Uncle Rick's is awesome, and all spectrums as well.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys, and thank you for the announcer voice and the horns.
Here we go. We can give you that full. Right, there he is. Right there, UncleRickGenetics.com. Check it out. Use code WT.
We can get a code for you, dude. I can get a code.
Coming soon.
But I really want people to check out Grow GGD.
My bad.
Grow GGD is definitely a place that if you're a beginner or you're looking to just
my bad.
Get information.
I had it on loop.
Further connected. We talk about lights, seeds, and nutrients right there. We're a one-stop place for beginners, so you don't have to go and talk to 30 people, have 15 different experiences, get 20 different types of advice. Kind of, we take you under the wing.
Can you get closer to your mic a little? You're a little. You got quiet. I feel like you're a little, yeah. There you go.
Is that better?
Oh man, we can hear him now, you guys. I didn't know he was a man. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll see crest this. I'll hold the mic. Let me get it.
What we gotta do? I had to get the spit block thing because my puzz were getting too
Yeah, this is a talk into mic, so you're supposed to talk right into it. But
you're all the way back. Yeah. So what I was going to tell you was, I was hearing most of it, but it was getting a little tough.
All I'm saying is when
Thanks, Richard, appreciate that, man.
When we came out
and that's a wrap.
to help people, that's still the foundation we operate from, and we really want people to check out growggd.com. That is a place where we're going to start our own community. You can check it out. It's a pretty dope page. It's very immersive. But I was saying we have seeds, we have nutrients, and we have equipment that's all under one roof. You don't have to get 30 different people's advice. You don't have to go to a million different places. So yeah, this is it.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to the Great Green Door. We know it, you grow it. GGD is dedicated to bringing home cultivators not only the tools to grow, but the know-how to make your journey a successful story. Enter site. It's down here. Plant.
Harvest.
Repeat.
And if you're super cool kid, there's a button down at the bottom, but you have to be a member. So it's not gonna work.
Snap. What happens? I want to see what happens.
It's going to tell you to log in, or it's restricted.
Oh, it wants me to sign in. I'm not doing that on the screen. Sorry, guys.
You just hit the X there.
I can't hear you.
There you go.
I lost you. Okay.
Really? It turned me way down? Hold on. I know how to fix this.
It did.
It has this annoying problem. I'm going to replace it. Oh,
I
it put
hear
me
you
to
now.
39.
I
There
hear
we
you
go.
now.
It
Yeah.
put me to 39. 39 is not good. I need to be like in the 70s.
It's just, I think you had just leaned away.
There we go. No, I can talk back here. So, yeah.
Well, this is
So
cool.
if you
made this
if you
with
go
Canva.
into this, yeah, I actually took like forever to make that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass, dude.
I recognize a whole bunch of the.
I put every single sticker together there. It took forever.
I've used a whole bunch of these on game night. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. It's like those Amazon weed stickers. Like everybody
Yeah,
has them.
yeah.
Everyone's got it's awesome though. But yeah, if you do go into the site, that's where the Osiris is, and you can check out more about it. Our homepage is called
Enter.
the Explore GGD. That is really the whole page where we talk about new stuff. Those pages aren't built yet. Podcast that's 10 episodes short. Like I was telling you, I don't know what happened, but equipment, nutrients, and seeds are coming soon, and we have the Explore page built with a bunch of different stuff on there about our new lights, our nutrients, and then we're going to be putting seeds on there. Boop. Funny.
Right. Oh, I was gonna say, can I get back? Let's see.
Go to Explore. No, Explore GGD. 2 tabs to your left. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Right. This is where I've been putting my time into. So this is built right now, and this gives you a pretty good understanding of how everything is structured. But yeah, we kind of hit all the marks so that you don't have to go 5 different places.
First time grower. We specialize in bringing first time growers are on their journey from seed to harvest. Don't have any equipment? No problem. We carry all the necessary gear needed to make any grow a success. Unlike other companies, we take the time to educate growers on how to properly use their grow equipment to ensure you get the maximum potential from yourself and from your plants. Purchase validation from Unlimited Lighting. You get our 1-year help network on us. This will grant you access to our one-on-one coaching as well as access to our inner social groups. With like
They're not as inner as yours. There's no shirtless pictures of me.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, man. There's just, I was looking at VR games lately. Ever played on any VR?
It makes me sick. I don't know why, but
it takes time.
Gives me a headache.
Your brain has to. It does me once in a while, but mostly you get used to it. But anyway, I ran across this free game. It was like basically like everyone's naked and shit.
That's funny.
I was like, that one's gonna have to be behind the paywall, everybody.
That's a paid. That's a subscription only.
Yeah, that's gonna be a subscription only for special viewers. Explore full site. Okay, you got the photo or the Phantom.
It's the Photon 680. So this is our kind of our flagship. This is our flagship right now. We kind of had like a million lights, and then we kind of didn't see much reason to give people options when they don't know what they want anyway. So kind of just made the best light, put it into one. We sell this at a 680, 880, and a 1080. January, we're dropping the Photon 2, which comes to 680, 880, 1000, and 1200. So it's just a crazy light. This is a multispectral controlled light, and our controller can control each spectrum, and it would be able to control each spectrum by time and intensity. So you could really dial in your flowering spectrum, and you can actually get the most out of your diodes because they do have way different lamp hour life. Red ones last about 20,000 hours. Jamie, much love. And the white ones last about 40 to 50,000. So if you're using them at the wrong times, one's going to go out before the other and eventually render your light useless over time. So really having a controller is kind of key. Also having multispectral control is key in stressing your plants correctly. And that goes a long way with all plants for root growth, different things like that.
So I never thought about that. Maybe I could get a controller, or maybe the next upgrade being a light with controller that would be much easier to change and adapt and kind of mimic the season better for having a grow table with all this different shit in there. I mean, I got miniature tomatoes and broccoli and lemongrass, and there's a couple of cannabis plants in there, and I got onions and sweet potatoes and regular potatoes and what is it, arugula and radishes.
Nice.
I think that's it.
The whole family, dude. You got the whole family.
Just across the. I actually have a new camera. I'm going to be setting it up where I can always have a camera that I could pull up during the show to just pull up the garden.
Live cam. That's awesome.
Live check on the garden. And
That's
bro,
awesome.
like this whole play, I need to write that down. Actually, while we're live, got to write this idea down from the beginning of the show. When I get my army of praying mantis, I'm gonna have to wrap a little colored, like, I don't know, maybe a little paint or maybe a little, I don't know what I would use that would be safe for them, a little tag of some kind,
something that glows in UV and it's like water soluble and safe, and you could like show them at night. Under UV light. Right. Okay, see them all crawling around.
Now we're talking. Cool. Okay, let me see. Let's see.
But yeah, this kit, I just want to let people know that are watching.
Let's go.
This kit is not super cheap. It is a one and done 5-year solution to indoor growing. Your investment is key in getting longevity, but you don't get what you pay for with a lot of this stuff, but with this, you definitely do get what you pay for. That was kind of how I built it, but now the market's changed and you're paying. For example, my light here in this picture has UV, infrared, deep red, 3K, 5K, and multispectral control, and it's $649 for a 680 watt. And if you look at the most purchased light, which is a Spider Farmer FCE, whatever, it's 570 watts. It's $700. Doesn't have UV, doesn't have infrared, just has deep red, and you can't control spectrums. And it's less wattage. It's more money. So it's like, you're actually paying more for less. You can't go to the site yet. Like I said, all this is under construction, but that is the Photon, and it comes in 3 different sizes. But yeah, I built the whole website. I constantly am building the website.
That's awesome.
All the graphics I do. Yeah, I couldn't before either, and I had to figure it out. It's a lot.
What do you what would you advise somebody looking to make their own website
for cannabis?
For anything. If cannabis might be on it, but not for sales of cannabis. No.
Okay, well, if you don't have a shop, then you could go for like a Wix website. That's pretty good. And if you do have a shop,
I want a place like this where I can eventually add my podcast even and everything like you're doing here. So
right. Yeah. I would go for something like community based that's easy to edit, because websites are complicated. And if you're talking about cannabis, but you're not selling anything, it's usually not a problem. But if that's not built,
oh my bad.
It's all right, dude. This page is live.
I'm exploring.
That's fine. Explore GGD. Click that, and just keep scrolling. It's kind of like a never-ending scroll. You clicked the door, didn't you?
No.
Okay.
I thought about it. I really wanted to. It makes me want to.
It's just going to tell you restricted access. Even if you signed in, it'd say restricted. So this is like, it's all stuff we're working on. But yeah, if you just keep scrolling down, there's a ton of stuff on this That's like the first time grower thing is something we always try to highlight. Um, that's the Osiris,
Oh, that's what I was looking for. Okay.
and there's an explore button below that brings you to the Osiris info page. More info button below.
Experience Osiris.
Osiris is actually the god of plant fertility and light, ironically. And this light is for plants that are in vegetative forms, and it will literally double your growth in the same space and shorten the time with less output. That's just basically all it really does. It just delivers, which, like I said, it's snake oily, but
No, let's hear this. Let's hear how it goes here. Operation Osiris is a lighting project we followed from that day. Oh, we have a little typo there.
Oh man.
Like I know I've been doing a lot of dabs, but I feel like maybe there's something wrong
fault,
here.
Dude.
That's
my fault.
Engineering started to the final product. Hey, I found something. You're welcome. I'll send you the bill. We have also witnessed years of R&D showcasing unmatched results from the beginning to commercial grower, beginner to commercial grower. This created a consistent outcome, unmatched growth with less wattage, less heat, and less environmental controls. Osiris is truly a light that can help a beginner or an expert hone their cultivation skills.
I was just editing this yesterday. I can't believe I missed that.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
I may not read smoothly, but I can read. All right. Oh, that's right. You said like it makes it look like that's going to be the end, but
ready, so these are more lights we have. That's the controller that does all the different spectrums: sunrise, PPFD control, CO2, temps, humidity, humidifiers, basically everything. There's a little newsletter you could join, but we didn't start yet, but we will have started. It's a lot going on, man.
That's okay.
I
see that you're laying the groundwork, man. Yeah.
Chris Plummer, you have the funniest comments, bro. I had to hand it to you. If we ever do like a Dundee's where I hand out awards, you're gonna get the Dundee for comedy for sure. The site button doesn't work either. I have it turned off, but
yeah, well, I'm liking Chris too. You guys and all the guys coming over here from your page and stuff, you're welcome to pop through and be humorous any day. I like a lot of humor. I have a dry sense of humor though, so sometimes it doesn't come out as being,
good.
But as a obvious joke. Once in a while, they're like, "What? Be real? Is he for real?" No, just joking. Utopic. We know about the Utopic from.
Utopic is a part of the Great Green Door. We 100% stand behind Utopic, and Rod is a great dude. Shout out if you're watching, Rod. But yeah, we have a 10% off coupon there for first-time buyers on a full kit. So, feel free, click on that. It just opens a cool little coupon that has a coupon code on it. But Rod's really got something great that was designed for the medical cannabis industry, and it's an incredible product. I've used it. Tons of people that use it see results instantly. That matched with the Osiris is actually quite synergistic in itself, which is what we recommend highly. It really will shorten your veg times and still fill those spaces.
Nice. I'll have to give it a try. I have a bunch of stuff here that I don't know what to do with if I don't use it, but I also don't really use a lot of nutrients because of the aquaponics system.
Right. I get it.
I actually do a lot of additives to it. Not a lot, but I can add beneficial microbes to the water, to other things like mineralization, which I'm actually working on trying to naturally remineralize my water with, like, say, river rock or something to that effect. I might go get some rocks. I actually put a bunch of pennies in there, and I'm going to get some raw copper from whatever, some old electronics I might have laying around.
Use
And
pipe.
say again.
Use pipe. You could cut it into small rounds. Water goes through it.
Copper pipe.
Yeah, like a
Well,
3/4 inch.
Yeah, it'll go through it, but I'm putting copper in areas where the water's flowing anyway. Just
Yeah,
like
you can put it in a filter. You can do that for like a swimming pool. Keep everything clean, but
Hmm.
it also kills everything.
Copper.
Yeah,
The fish need copper.
I get it, but if you were to put like an amount in there, like a pipe, you would have no algae buildup. It would kill like a bunch of stuff. Just because that's
Too
what
much
copper
copper.
does.
Well,
When
zero
stuff
is
gets
not
run
enough,
through
right?
copper, when stuff gets run through, this is why you have copper pipes in your house. You have water just sitting there for a long time. It's not going to get you sick, because bacteria doesn't grow in copper. That's why I don't like PEX. Everybody's switching to plastic. Aside from the microplastics, like stuff can grow in plastic. But even looking back, if you want to go and like say skip the modern research and go back to like kings and queens, the medieval times, did they have dishwashers? How much Dawn soap was made then? You know what I mean? The real answer lies in what the material these chalices are made of. These kings drank from the same cup forever, and they were gold, and bacteria doesn't grow on gold. That's why you don't usually get infections from gold earrings, true gold or true silver, because it just can't exist there. So this is why you had these cups that were made out of these things. That's the same thing that goes, is why people say skip the chlorine in your swimming pool and put, a handful of cut copper pipes, like, about an inch or two long, just cut them and throw them in the skimmer, and it will keep everything from growing in there. As long as the water runs through the copper. It's kind of crazy.
So that's
I don't
interesting
know if that's
because,
beneficial.
well, as I check the water with the test strips and stuff, and I've got like no iron and no copper, and I know the fish and the plants need some minerals. Like
Right.
I need magnesium. I added through Epsom salts. I can add more of that, but I guess I don't know how much copper I should put in there if there's a toxicity level, but
There
probably.
would be too, if you have like a mycology in there, something you're trying to keep alive, then yeah, I would assume there's no like there's no bias when something stops life. It's both sides. So
We
there's no
need
good
copper in our
bacteria.
bodies.
You actually should look up you should look that up. Look up how people would be if we had abundant levels of copper in us all the time, and you'd be pretty surprised. There's like a research done about that. Your skin color wouldn't be the same. You'd have a way different type of rigidity to your body. Like you would just be totally different.
Different
And
in a good way or a bad way?
well, copper's a conductor, and we're electrical. So I could imagine that it would help. I'm not here to give medical information,
That's
but
okay. Yeah.
I'm an open, free-minded person that thinks about stuff. And, when I see a study talking about like the guy that they like shamed him for taking so much colloidal silver, the guy, nothing happened to the guy. He turned blue. Well, there was nothing wrong with the guy, and he was an elderly guy. You know what I mean? So that right there, that one story branches like roots, it just goes off. And I start thinking about why is it something that was like kept around essentially if it wasn't useful? People don't use it. People don't use colloidal silver. You know what I mean? So why was it kept around? It wasn't kept around for plants. It wasn't kept around for sexing plants 1,000 years in the future. It's just like I don't know. I think there's a lot of hidden. I think there's a lot of hidden truths in some pretty simple stuff. Something that I saw more than a few times. I read the same thing posted in different places was I don't even, I'm unbelievably, I've read this many times. I don't remember who the people were, but there was a civilization of people that used to idolize a godlike potion that the people would make, and it was a mixture of full spectrum cannabis oil and colloidal silver. And it was like apparently the like thing that cured everything, it fixed everything. You know, like you just that's what you took it every day. Um, and I've read that more than enough times. But like, that again just added to that other story. I'm like, wait a minute. There's that old guy with the colloidal silver. Then this whole civilization like idolized making this full spectrum cannabis oil, combining it with colloidal silver and taking it. Like I'm still not convinced as to why we even have an endocannabinoid system.
Mm.
Like I
Yeah,
still
I
don't
don't either.
understand it. Yeah, like you know what I
I
mean? I
think
really
maybe
don't.
I think it might have to do with the fact that there are cannabinoids and things that are not just cannabis.
Right, but why do we
Like,
have receptors for it if it's not supposed to be consumed in one way or another all the time? Like, you know what I mean? I really feel like it's something that like
hmm,
not all animals or insects can even interact with cannabinoids. It's not
that's
like
interesting.
everything can get high. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I know. Well, you're right. We talked about this one time about how dogs. It's actually a toxicity to dogs. It's you should
Cats.
not try to get your dogs or cats high.
2 weeks they could be high. A cat could be high for 2 weeks.
But it's not
That's
high.
nuts.
It's sick. It's toxic.
Yeah, it's
It's been
greened out.
toxified. Yeah.
Permanent green
And
out.
we think they're high. It's like no, actually, their bodies can't. They can eat or they can eat the cannabis leaves. They can eat. I believe they can eat CBD pretty nicely. I've definitely given my dog CBD,
Chris,
but for some
Chris,
reason
Chris
THC is
Plummer,
not good.
he said it's a myth
Alchemy,
that bad shine will make you go blind. What it was the lead solder they
interesting.
were using. Actually, I would like to weigh in and say that I've never seen one plumber that did hydronic baseboard heat. People like just solder all day long with lead solder because it's not being consumed with water, so it's safe. I don't see any of them having lead problems or toxicities. Now, with the bad shine, I don't. It's not bad shine. When you have a still that's metal, they expand and contract at the joints, whether it's
Mhm.
soldered or not, and that breathes air in. And when you have that mixture happen, it goes from what is it? Methanol is what we drink, turns to
I have no idea.
ethanol when you add oxygen. And drinking ethanol, like ethyl alcohol, I'm pretty sure, will make you go blind,
Hmm.
and methyl alcohol will not. So like the only difference is adding oxygen while it's being distilled. So it's like while it's in the still, they
Yeah, because
went
one of those
switched
can be
to
used in a
solid.
vehicle.
You could use a solid still or a glass
uh,
still, and then you won't go blind from it. That's what I was always under the impression of, that
Interesting. A solid
it's
still
the
makes
yeah,
sense.
it can't happen because the oxygen can't seep in and combine with the alcohol and create a different compound. That's why I thought you went blind.
Hmm.
Blind.
I wonder
Hydro.
if they call it bad because you can make it like it doesn't always go bad from doing that, but maybe there it does sometimes. I don't know. In
Well,
that type
old
of
shine,
still,
all them old shine guys, a lot of them were blind.
huh?
From and they, thought it was from them having a shitty still and drinking their own shine for so long and it having,
Huh.
amounts of that different compound of. In there.
When I was in Iraq, there were a lot of soldiers buying liquor from locals early on, and the kids would come up to the convoys and try selling things. Mister, you buy, whatever it was, brandy, you buy brandy, and they would sell you a bottle of liquor, and I never bought it. I didn't care about it. I didn't even smoke weed while I was over there. Um, and the people drinking the liquor would get sick because they find out that the Iraqis were fermenting liquor in old radiators
Oh
that are
God.
lined with lead and shit. And the soldiers think, oh, it's alcohol. It'll kill. There's nothing wrong. Like people think alcohol is just so sterile, right? It is, but that doesn't mean it can't get you sick. Like,
Oh yeah, that's for sure, dude.
it's still poison.
So Chris is saying it's there, but you're supposed to take the bad shit off. So you think these old fucking school shine guys just shook it up, drank it all, didn't take the top shit off, and they did it for 30 years and this
Drank
guy
the
went
top.
blind?
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
dude. I mean,
it's a different theory. I think that both kind of sound like they could be plausible for sure.
I don't know, man. That's another topic for probably another
Nothing
time.
else
but
is.
I recently saw something about the alcohol prohibition and farmers making their own fuel from crops that they couldn't use that was rotting around the same time periods as the pre-prohibition. So, something I like I said, I just discovered that the people were making all of the food stuff out of
Yeah, I lost you. I feel like maybe the song I started playing did it. There, yeah, I hear you again. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't play any music.
I was just saying that the prohibition happened right after a bunch of these farmers started making all their own fuels out of wasted farm fruit, vegetables, stuff like that. They'd make alcohol out of it and then power their equipment. That shortly after everybody was doing that, prohibition came along, and you weren't allowed to have or make or sell alcohol. It's kind of crazy.
Any way they could. Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. I didn't know those two things happened at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like you always know the prohibition to be about one thing, and then you see like, well, hold on a second. We see people making water-powered cars on Facebook, and then they disappear. They didn't have Facebook then, but these people were making mash-powered farms. I'm sure that was enough to set people off in the petroleum industry to lobby against people and make them
I could
not
see
be able
that,
to do it anymore.
There's always unintended consequences, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Right.
Like a lot of medicines. Like I always think of the ED when erectile dysfunction came out. It was literally not actually a thing. It was invented by the company that created Viagra, and Viagra was not originally a boner pill. It was a heart medicine, and they found out it was giving dudes, boners, and they were like, "Oh, secondary marketing scheme." And so what they did was they put in the journals, the medical journals. They put in the stories and the information about this new epidemic, ED. It's a thing. And so it's sending out all this information to doctors. Doctors just, they just digest that shit, like whatever the new thing is. Okay, here's a new drug for it, and this is what. And so they started prescribing Vicodin for men that, and now it's like a hidden kind of we just take it for fun. It just became a thing now,
Now there's Blue Chews and all this weird shit.
There's a whole bunch of other companies.
I gotta just say, you shouldn't need that. The commercials they provide. Chris Plummer.
What's up, Alan? Talk about a guy who's got some experience in growing right
what's
here.
What's up, Alan?
Anyway, go ahead.
How you doing, brother? It's just really funny. You see their commercials and like all of the extends commercials we grew up with, like, weirdos were always like some old man in golf pants.
That, it was older guys.
He had a great life, but his only problem was like he had no libido. So like remember Bob from Extends? It didn't matter if he was driving a sports car or a race car, NASCAR. He needed to be driving for Extends. But like Blue Chews, their freaking billboards are everywhere, and they're like 30-year-olds. They're like, what the fuck happened? Bob
Having a
and this
boner.
guy. This could be Bob's grandkid. You know,
Having
from
problems getting a
experience.
boner and only 17, we've got the pill for you. Like,
Right? Did you
what?
just finish paying off your student loans? Can't get a boner? Come get a Blue Chew. Like, wait a minute. I'm not
Yeah.
60.
That's what I mean. Like they slowly expand their market cap, I guess, whatever it is.
I don't know. I think the same thing happens with, you know, the whole shampoo market. You know, men's and women's shampoo. I don't know why they're segregated into different things, but one is horribly toxic for you and will guarantee you go bald if you shower with it in hot water. And then the other one is guaranteed to just make your hair stay there, but turn into like a brittle, nothing, wispy piece of crap. So, like, honestly, you know, if you look at that, it's no surprise why people have balding in the same place, same way. It's not like, you know,
It's not a hat. It's not the hats. People say it's from hats, man.
bro,
Am I gonna go bald if I keep wearing this hat all the time?
I have so much fucking hair and I've
You
worn a
too,
hat
man. We're
my whole
hairy
life.
mother. You know,
My
you
whole
actually
life.
you're younger than me though. I can tell in the beard. I have a little more pepper, a little bit more salt and pepper in my beard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That thing? Have you put any dye in that beard?
no,
That's so black, you guys. You guys see how dark this
I
guy's
know.
beard is?
I know. I
Perfectly
have
dark. Look at mine.
one of my nicknames was Blackbeard. I don't know why. it
Really
stuck, but
interesting.
I'm just
Better
Italian.
than Black Bush, I guess, right?
Yo, Blackbush, what's up, man?
From then on he was forever known as Black Bush.
It's unfortunate.
So Chris, I'm not sure why he said this. I'd make a video of me hitting buckets like they were drums. I actually took a friend of mine with me one time to a drum circle event that I found on Facebook. We didn't have any drums, so we brought Tupperware to and then they gave us drums.
I thought about his comment, like 4-hour boner that he's talking about. He's making videos.
That would be different. You're like, nope, I got my own drumstick. They're like,
got my
whoa,
own
you
beat.
can't do that here.
I'm a one-stick drummer. What's
That's
up,
funny.
brother? The unistick drummer. You can only hit one drum at a time.
Running around like Zorro. Yeah, hey, put that thing in a sheath. Sheath that thing, Chris. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't
Yes,
think
that's nice.
think it's about hats though. I really think that nutrition, you know, not to pull this all the way full circle back to plants, but
Do it.
let me ask you a
We need to
question.
wrap it up anyway. Let's do it.
Let me ask you a question. You give a plant water, or is it drinking the water? Does it need water to live?
I think water is just a conduit to move things around.
Right. And this is now, we're going to transition it to people. Does all food give you nutrition?
Hell no.
No. What is food? Food is our
Calories.
water. That's our conduit to get nutrients, right? So water goes in the plant, it gets exhausted from the leaves. Food goes in us, what doesn't become nutrients comes out, right? So same concept. You know what I mean? Same exact concept. Now, if you start giving a plant water and a medium that has nothing in it, you're going to see that plant grow, but it's not going to be healthy. The same thing happens with a person. Now, if you give a person the right food that gives them nutrients, the right herbs that give them, you know, immunity, and you feed them with the right, you know, types of water, there's so much to it. But you do all those things, you're going to have a much healthier, less deficient, less tired plant or person. It really doesn't matter. Dog, person, plant. It's about input and output, right? So this all happens to be something that I take really seriously. We spend a mortgage payment on food every month, and there's just two of us. That's not including the
I
dogs.
spend more than that.
We make our dogs food. Like we cook them chicken liver, beef, and turkey, and we make them a meal every day with carrots,
I wish I
broccoli.
could do that. I need to do that.
It's about $50 a week a dog.
Yeah,
it's like 80.
So there's actually other products too out there that I've come up with. Like this one, the one I know of is called Rough Greens, where you get this like powdered form of all these different vitamins and nutrients that you can pour like a powder onto their food, like dry food, and actually give it the bacteria and stuff that it's supposed
You
to
don't
have.
want dry
I
food.
don't know.
That's the problem. Dry food is the
Yeah.
issue. But I'm actually
Yeah.
going to be launching this probably next year. It's going to be called the Goodest Pup. We're making our own dog food, and we're going to be freeze drying it or dehydrating it. So all you'd have to do, you'd have like a 5-year lifespan on this stuff. It would be real food. All you'd have to do is add water to it, wait about 5 minutes, mix it up, and your dog has what comes off the stove. It's not hot, obviously. You don't want to get
Right.
on
Dry
top of
food
it,
doesn't
but
have anything in it. It's like dead. Everything's dead in there.
well,
So
it's
I
been
always
so superheated. There's actually been chemicals created from that superheating. So they test it before they superheat it. You know what I mean? And then once they superheat it, you have all sorts of carcinogens, things dogs can't produce. The like the wheats, dogs can't eat wheat. They can't eat a lot of that stuff. And a lot of the dog's issues come from the food, like allergies, dry skin, having the paws and the ears licking, the fucking all of that's from food. And it's with people the same way. People have joint pain from food.
yeah.
You know, as soon as I stopped and I started eating totally clean, start taking the right herbs, I no longer have pains when it rains. That is
I've
crazy to me.
actually been wondering that myself. I'm working on my own diet and my own journey, right? But at the same time, I've had this like just spiking pain in an area where I had a broken bone when I was a kid. And they
Right.
say when, especially now I'm getting older, they say that arthritis can build up in wherever you break a bone at. And that's what some people say they could feel with the rain or whatever they can feel. I don't necessarily notice that, but lately it has been. I've been putting more pressure on it because of another injury, but that's beside the point. Man, I got a free massage from the VA. I went to this like a community care place, a chiropractic place.
Right.
So this was not a soothing massage. This was my first ever massage, bro. This was a couple days ago. And
Masochistic.
this
Had the
was,
hammer.
yeah, I can't tell you how many times I looked at her and said, I bet you enjoy putting people into this pain.
Did they
Sort
hit
of
you with the
some comment
sand
in that way.
hammer? They hit you with the hammer and the pin? They get you like,
No,
that.
no, it was
Oh,
all
okay.
hand. She was in there, sure, but just on my
That's good.
shoulders and neck and everything, and it's still sore to the touch right now, but in a good
Can I
way.
say,
I hope it's better.
Can I
Yeah,
say that you
say it.
can fix a lot of that by eating herbs? And the terpenes are what's in the herbs. There are 4 terpenes in oregano that will take most of the inflammation away from your body and kill anything on contact. But it's not oregano, the spice. Oregano concentrated oil, organic, expeller pressed. It's really, really tough to stomach. But if you can start to take that daily, you'll see massive improvements in your overall quality of life just
My
from
muscles were
one thing.
knotted up. My
Yeah.
muscles were
Well,
knotted up.
inflammation is key there. Like inflammation is why cannabis makes you feel so good. A lot of it has to do with anti-inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory. 90% of these terpenes, the most common side effect from all of them is anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. So
Right.
like you're talking about you're a body made of mycology and bacteria all over the place. If it's bad bacteria, that's all through you and it's more than the good. Taking these things are going to highlight the good and end up you outbalance the bad and you end up starting to feel better just from simple inputs. Eat organic food. Try not to get stuff that's processed or pre-made because like you could want to eat organic and then eat something that's high class food and it's not even organic food, and a lot of that you don't even get the nutrients from. So
Well, even the organic label is kind of it can be misleading if you look into the specifics on it. That's why
right.
growing your own is kind of where I've been, and I've been eating more of my own, but at the same time as learning to grow, like I know that it'll get better as far as the nutrition value of what I grow. But at the same time, like I'm learning something that I fully don't know what all the details with aquaponics. It's like it's hard. It's a there's a lot of variables with that system. I actually have a local farm that I plan to go and do a tour. It's an aquaponics farm where they do it commercially, and I can't wait to see that, man. I can't wait. I really like
Awesome.
aquaponics, but it's definitely not a beginner's thing. And I started with it like what? So now I'm going
Yeah,
backwards, trying other things, and
agreed.
but I don't have much space outside to actually grow outside, and so there's one corner of the house I'm trying to maybe I'll make an herb garden to your point, and just get a lot more herbs going. And a lot of herbs are are like pest repellent type things too. There's a lot of pest repellents in the
It's
herbicide.
actually the terpenes. A
Mhm.
lot of those terpenes are going to kill a bug. Like if it were to get it on it, like
No,
if you were to put,
Chris.
I'm making up words now.
It's real, I promise.
if
I don't
you
know if it's in the dictionary yet, but go ahead.
if you look into the oregano study this kid did in college or high school, he did it with his professor, and they took every known pharmaceutical for antibiotics and put it against all these different types of bacteria and viruses. And every time the pharmaceuticals killed it down to like the 90s, 91, 85 percentile. Not all the way, but enough that something else could kill it off. Right. And oregano, every study with every single thing they did killed it 100% every time.
Yeah.
So oregano itself is just a freaking powerhouse. Eucalyptus does the same
Oregano.
thing.
Hmm.
Eucalyptus has extremely strong terpenes that are so anti microbial and antioxidant that a lot of this stuff that it comes in contact with, it just destroys.
That's a tree, right?
Eucalyptus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a terpene called eucalyptol, which gives that scent, and it's in
Oh, okay.
cannabis as well. That gives a
Huh.
minty taste in cannabis. But eucalyptol is a very powerful aromatherapy thing, and just inhaling it gives you those properties. But if you were to get it in a concentrated form, like if you were to grow strain high in eucalyptol and then get it to really produce a lot of terpenes and smoke that, that is going to give you such a different effect from the eucalyptol.
Mm,
And it's actually a borderline medical.
nice.
This is what they're doing. They're isolating terpenes now and giving them to people.
Hmm.
Um, and terpenes are well underexplored, but that's what
Yeah.
every single smell is a terpene, and
Hmm.
it's they all have
That's actually a
properties.
really great way to describe terpenes is it's a smell. And I
It
don't
is
think enough people talk about it like that, which I think I think we all knew it. I think I've known it. Everyone's kind of, but I don't think anyone's really said that. I've not heard it. I mean, not that I've not to my knowledge anyway. But that's
right.
interesting. That's that you say
There's
that makes a lot
there's
of sense.
terpenes like the Valencine terpene comes from the Valencia orange, but it's
What's
in
the
cannabis.
what about the methane terpene when you
For
fart?
like a fart, it's a combination. It's a combination of gases. That's different. But
Terpane.
like
I'm
there
sorry.
are terpenes in there. One of the biggest terpenes in the world right now is a synthetically made version of Nootkatune, which is from the grapefruit. Right now, organic pesticide is Nootkatune, and it is a super heavy duty terpene concentration that nothing can live through being covered with. It's
Interesting.
insane. And they totally spray farms down with it. It's a really great alternative to what they do for pesticides.
What about like a dog?
What? Like if
Would it hurt a dog?
see now dogs and terpenes are really a sensitive subject. Remember
Yeah.
aromatherapy oils are all concentrated terpenes. That's what it
Hmm.
is. That's what they are. And like today we gave the dogs baths. We did cottonseed oil. We did the cedar tree oil, lemongrass, oat flour in the bath, like, for the dogs. And you have to be careful with what you use because a lot of that stuff could be a dermatological nightmare because there
Yeah.
are limits where it becomes toxic. It could become toxic, or you could have reactions with it. Even small amounts. Some people's
Yeah,
biology
dogs
might
can't have
not
basil.
react.
Dogs can't have basil. I knew that.
They can't have a lot of shit. Like
Yeah.
if you give a dog cashews, they could really get injured quickly. If you
Hmm.
give a dog grapes, their kidneys could shut down
Yeah,
overnight
grapes. I
or
knew that
within
too. Yeah.
7 days. If your dog ate macadamia nuts, their back legs would be paralyzed for up to 2 days. And
Shit.
it's like the most traumatizing thing in the world for your dog because they just don't have the use of their fucking legs. it's kind of crazy. There's so many things because
I've seen an animal like that, but it was a disease that they had where they couldn't walk, or their back leg stopped. It was like a baby kitten, I think. But anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute.
we'll
But
go forever,
you know,
bro.
no, we really could, and that's why whenever I have someone on the first time, I definitely like to just sort of explore whatever and see how what kind of person they are. But we could definitely have a more pinpointed discussion anytime if you ever want to do something again, man. Have a more specific conversation about growing or whatever it is. But Chris says what I was asking before: what CBD is safe to give my dogs? I think really, I mean, I'm pretty sure any CBD is safe to give your dogs, but you don't want to give them THC. Is what
I don't know. I've seen adverse things to giving dogs CBD.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, and you know, a lot of issues your dog has, and I know this is not the answer that helps anybody, but a lot of the issues dogs have are from malnutrition for their whole lives. So, like, you know,
I lost you.
Dogs that are prone to having issues, you know, a lot of the times it's nutrition based over a long period of time, and unfortunately, you can't go back and fix that. So, like, one of the most important things to tell everybody if you're adopting a dog, you know, feed them organically if you can. I know it's a little expensive, but like, what would you rather have? A bunch of vet bills or a healthy dog? Because it's the same cost,
right?
You know, like we've had dogs that we didn't feed, and they were like, you know, go to the vet because their stomach is fucked up and it's $2,000, and or they need surgery. You could kiss your dog goodbye. Like a lot of that wouldn't happen if you didn't feed them these things that, you know, there's something in dog food called AGEs. And AGE, ironically, it's an acronym, but it spells age, but it actually ages the dog really fast. And it's something that's a byproduct of them heating up kibble. So it's only in there after they make it. Holy crap, that turned me all in. It's only in there.
You're fluctuating there.
I moved my hand. Yeah, it's being a pain in the butt. But yeah, there's like all sorts of stuff there. It's really like, if you really don't want to go through a lot of the heartbreaking shit with your animals or your family or yourself, research into just proper inputs. You know, keep it basic, feed yourself and your animals well, and it will reward you tenfold. I promise you.
Yeah. I have a husky, and you know, I give her like a raw egg a lot of times. She likes that. She loves that. And I'll give her some raw steak. A lot of times when I buy a steak, I'll cut a piece of it, give it to her. I've given her a whole piece when I get the like thin cut ones. I try not to give her too much at once because she's not used to having to chew it. Like, she'll chew it, but man, she'll try to swallow a big chunk of it too. And like, I don't want to be sitting here trying to dig steak out of your throat.
Yeah, but, and Timothy Barker, 100%, dude. I've literally had dogs that want me to blow smoke in their face. Like, they come up and bark at you when you hit the bong until you blow it at them, and then they're like, "Yeah, thank you." And then they like trot off. You hit the bong again, they run right up to like, me now. And you're like, all right.
I've
dude,
never seen that, but I can imagine. I can imagine.
He said some dogs just plop their head into the smoke.
Yeah, I saw that.
100%, dude. I've had a dog that like harassed. I didn't have a dog. My buddy had a dog. He was in the circle of us smokers that he harassed us. He wanted to get high. And like, you know, we're all on the same planet, bro. If I wasn't told I was a person, I would also think I was a dog. I wouldn't care, you know?
I wonder if it's like alcohol, how we drink alcohol. It's actually a poison in our body. And maybe some dogs enjoy it. Like, I like that feeling, that fuzzy feeling or whatever.
Dogs love beer, dude.
Yeah, they love the beer too. So I wonder if
it's beer.
If it's similar effect to that same dog. A German Shepherd did that. Yeah. See, I'm just saying, guys, that we did the research on people in the boxes one night. We talked about pets, and we talked about cannabis with pets. And we did the research, and we looked at a few different places, and, you know, just knowing that it is a physical toxicity, whether or not they like it or not, I try to stick away from it. Like, if my dog liked grapes, I'd be like, no, sorry. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. We smoke in the house.
My dog says, give me some chocolate. I'm like, I'm not going to give it chocolate. Right. Like,
Right. Our
So
dogs are in the house. We smoke all the time. You know, I don't think that they're just constantly ripped. I don't even
they're
think
gonna
they
get
die.
some of it for sure, but I think blowing it, or like also I think a THC edible, I think is a big one that dogs that
Yeah.
really fuck up dogs. I think that's the biggest one.
You got to be careful with that shit. Like if you have edibles, they should really be somewhere that your
Yeah,
kids or your dogs can't get into. That's like something
for
that could be go really wrong for no reason.
sure.
My friend's mom ate her cookies off the counter and didn't think anything of it and had to admit herself into the hospital. She thought she was having a heart attack because all of a sudden she just felt like she couldn't tell what room she was in and like she was fucking ripped, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah,
imagine thinking that like you're just a Saturday, you're cleaning your house, and all of a sudden you're fucked up out of nowhere, like you know. So like it took her
classic
a while.
situation.
Yeah, dude, but like that shit's scary if you're someone that doesn't smoke or at least not take edibles. You get really stoned out of nowhere. That's when you really get high when you stop thinking about it. So it's like
Right.
not even know. Wow.
I think that's the big issue between people that don't use cannabis and people that do is that tolerance. Those of us
Yeah.
who use it and have used it for a long enough period of time, it is part of our lives. And yes, you can argue that with many addictions, but I think with your point earlier about the cannabinoid system, I think there's just a different way of life that involves cannabis that can be done your whole life. Other
Right.
substances can be over time a net detriment to your life. There are downsides to cannabis. I will most certainly talk about them all day, but my point is like I think there's something different about it, and with the people that use it more than a few times, it's something that you're used to. Even those of us who go on a tolerance break and come back, yeah, you might get even more baked, but you're expecting that. Like, oh, I can't wait for the oh yeah, like, it's gonna be so good. You're not gonna be like, oh, what happened to me? Like, so like, you know what I mean? So, but people that aren't used to using cannabis, they're gonna be feeling like this is terrible. This is terrible. We can't let people do this their
Oh, I
first time
know.
trying. Like,
I
I
know.
can't imagine like some of these
Right?
people imagine like Ben Shapiro trying to weed for some. Okay, guys, like we're gonna try one time, like one little tiny puff. Like, these guys, they smoke
Fucking no.
stogies or whatever. They're not inhaling, but you're still getting that in your mouth.
You get
So
high
like,
off of that tobacco and yeah,
yeah, you're
you
still
get
getting
high
that.
off of that.
Yeah, for
Just the
sure.
smoke in your mouth, yeah. But
So
I wanted to just say something, to piggyback on that. The Hindu Hindu definition of religion is a way of life. That's all it is. It's your
right,
way of life, right? And that's what you do. So if you're telling me that you think there was a time that people lived a life with cannabis, that cannabis was a religion or something that was ritualistic, I would say that it's 100%. We just don't know who and when. Like, the um, Sumerians talked about it. The I think it was the Greeks or the Romans got it from some random civilization that whenever someone died, they all gathered and smoked weed. And then the I think it was the Romans, they started introducing it at their funerals. Everybody would smoke weed when someone died. It's kind of crazy. Like cannabis has a really weird history, and it actually goes back to Hebrew has original words for it. Aramaic has original words for cannabis. A lot of it started with a K. It was like cannabis or cannabis. It was like a different type of structure. But as far back as this plant goes, bless you. Um, people were the ones using it for all sorts of things. And into the late 1800s, mid 1800s, you had to grow cannabis to pay taxes in this country, and you had to grow an acre of it, or you'd be federally in trouble. And everything was made from cannabis. There was hemp, everything like ailments, like, plates, clothing,
sorry,
like,
Chris.
everything, man, could be made from hemp. And then all of a sudden, lobbyists took it away. So it's not so distant in the past that, we
Never,
had
dude.
this ritualistic freaking lifestyle with cannabis.
Yeah. Well, even in the 30s and before that, like we still had it as a much stronger point in our culture for sure. But let's wrap it up here, man. I think it's a great conversation, and everybody definitely will have to go back and watch the rest of it if you are coming in late here. And thanks again to all of your followers that came over, guys. Definitely all my people. If you haven't checked out Uncle Rick, go check him out and go follow him. Check out the website GGD. Wait,
growggd.com.
Growggd.com. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you, everybody, and yeah, definitely a big shout out to everybody that came over here. Much love. Yeah, it was awesome being on here. Thank you for having me, sir.
For sure. Yeah, and you and the whole crew, man, definitely come out on a Thursday because it gets us a chance to get away from grow conversation, but also create perspective amongst each other, and that's what I love about it. So yeah, come back. Everybody else, yeah, definitely come check it out tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time. I haven't decided on the topic yet, but we'll try to come up with something a little more serious than bubblegum this week. Yeah, you all have a good night. Peace out, guys. Remember, it doesn't matter what you like, what you don't like, but every person that you ever meet will have to eat just like you do every day. So we'll see you all later. Peace.
Cheers.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer. Check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm waving the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro set up, my LED lights. Growing all my greens, all through the night. Self-sustain, that's the mission. Growing my own, I'm not missing. Indoor farming, the